Foes and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the magnificent Mr. Mike.
Old Man New Year.
That is true. This is the first day.
Is it Old Man Old Year?
Oh, well, no, I mean, it's new day, new year. We're in 2024.
But what I'm saying is, like you've got the baby.
Old man, old year fits very fittingly.
You've got the baby. for
Yeah,
the
baby new year. It's
And then
father time.
What? Okay, so it's father time. So what happens to him? Where does he go?
He just gets old.
Yeah, but like, does he stick around?
Father time is always, yeah, I guess.
So he just keeps getting older?
Yeah.
Until when? Until what?
He's no longer old. I don't know.
All right, hang on. What? If
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
if that doesn't put you in the mood.
Oh, we got to.
Second stanza.
Yeah, I know.
Same as the first.
It's the same joke I was going to make. Ooh,
Well, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, that was Busy Brit with bad cover of Old Lang Syne.
There you go.
Hope
yeah.
you're all having a wonderful.
Going to be the first, so we'll
Right.
just go with it anyway.
Yeah.
Because that means then that we're going to have 5 shows in the month of January.
Oh, wow.
So I can still plan, because I'll tell you after this, we're getting into 2017's Mr. Miracle for January.
Oh, very nice.
We'll break that down. There's 12 issues in the whole series, so it'll be 3 issues an episode. We'll knock that out in January. And then February, I've already planned, Mike, because going over this list made me realize how much I know that I've missed them, and I think you've missed
Oh,
them
yeah.
too.
Oh, I've missed a lot,
And it's
I'm
perfect for the month of February. I think we're going to have some more romance comics.
Oh, very nice. I love the smell of romance in the morning.
There's nothing like somebody wanting to get a divorce because you had stubble in the morning.
This is not the guy I married.
Yes. Oh, this
he's a
monster,
monster.
this beast. But so a lot of great stuff to look forward to. But what I
think she just
decided to
had
do
short-term memory issues.
That could be
I think
it,
that's
too.
what it was. You know,
is usually,
kicked in the head by a donkey.
oh,
Probably is what it
well,
is.
that could for sure be.
Yeah.
But maybe she'll meet twins that have telepathy.
Telepathic twins.
That is another podcast. If you
don't
haven't
know what
listened
we're
to.
talking
Yeah.
about, you good for you.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
There's a podcast on the Rogue Media Network, podcast of families called Jennifer Love Hewitt. Please come on our podcast.
Please be on our show.
Please be on our show. Sorry.
Yeah.
It would help if I would.
It doesn't matter,
Okay.
honestly.
Wow.
Brazil, it's called something else, so it's fine. Brazil, it's called Stupid Americans Do Dumb Things.
But it's filled with fantastic stories, and she bought the Moby Dick of plums.
She bought a big plum. Yeah, she bought a big plum, and her friend Sarah Michelle Gellar called her about it.
So it's great.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Most people usually do a year in review to end the year.
Yeah.
So with it being though the absolute first of the year, we haven't done anything in 2024, so we might as well just still look back on 2023.
That's right.
And so I thought it would be great if I went through all the mini. I mean, there's a lot we cover. I'm probably going to miss a few things here or there, but just all the mini comics we covered over the last year of 2023,
You know
and
what?
just see of how many of these stuck with you.
Yeah, you know what hasn't changed?
What's that?
Is I'm afraid I didn't hit record.
I was honestly
I'm gonna
about
go
to
check
ask you
that.
that. Okay, well, so I'm going to hold. Yeah, no, we'll leave this in because this is part of the show. And this is what you call filling as Mike goes and checks. Oh, we're recording, everyone.
Good deal. Did it.
So,
2024 is off to a bang.
yeah, so 10 minutes in, and we're
Yeah.
still good.
That's right. We haven't started the show yet. Yeah.
But so I think that it's perfect for us to go ahead and take a look back at what we covered in 2023 and see what all, if any of this stuck with Mike, and just the funny things that we remember from all this.
Absolutely agree.
January, I know that I went back and I started with a whole new year. Let's look at some origin stories. We covered Superman #1, which was a collection of the first couple Superman stories. And the biggest thing that I remember from that was that Superman was born in Cleveland. He didn't land in Kansas.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
it's-
weird as hell.
It is. So, and he was very much like he drugged like somebody to take their place to pretend to be them. Remember all this? It was
yeah.
Superman was very weird. See, this is what I expect a lot of this.
Yeah, just a lot of, yeah.
We
I do remember that,
Yeah,
though.
we
Yeah.
also covered early Batman from Detective Comics 27 to 38 and Batman #1. I remember he killed a lot of people early on.
Yeah, he was super violent.
He was like, there's
Yeah.
that one where he's like swinging out of a window and he kicks the dude in the head, and he only has like the sound bubble of the neck snapping.
Right.
So he was a violent killer.
He kicked him in the head and it said paralysis. And then that was it. He flew away.
Oh man! And then, see, January wasn't anything like too weird or crazy. We kind of stayed on board. We had then we talked about Namor and Aquaman.
We're just talking about this year.
This is all
Or
just
2023?
2023. This is all just
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
And Namor realized when covering that is just Roman backwards.
Roman backwards.
But we did find out
It
that
doesn't have the same ring to it.
no, Roman
Here comes Roman backwards.
No, it doesn't. He does predate Aquaman by a good 2-3 years. I think we found out there.
yeah.
Funny enough, Bill Everett.
I like him better.
It's Bill Everett too. Namor, I kind of
Yeah.
do too. Is the one who created Namor.
He's
And
he's more serious. You know, like Aquaman. All right, this is a hot take. You ready? I don't like Aquaman movies. I think they suck.
that's
That's
fine.
I'm not great with them. That's not my Aquaman. You know,
Who is your Aquaman? The Justice Friends
my
Aquaman?
Aquaman is Super Friends.
Super
Yeah,
Friends. Sorry.
Aquaman, yeah.
You want the one that?
Whoa! Hang on one second. Hello, Casey Jones. Oh, hang on. Hello, Casey Jones. Hang on one second. Hang on. All right, now, what are you saying?
Well, I got a text. This is about how sometimes my life goes.
Sure.
I got a text from the thing that the bike shop said the bike's ready. They said the only last problem they had was they couldn't get the front brake to work with the gyro.
Oh,
Now, to a layperson, that probably sounds like a pretty bad deal.
sure it does.
To somebody who kind of knows what's going on, you realize that the gyro is meant to work with the back brake.
Oh, yeah, that's not great then.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell all the listeners of Bros, Foes, and Heroes hello.
Hello, bros, hoes, and heroes.
Thank you, Casey Jones. We were just recording our year-end or our 2024 look back at 2023 episode, and
Very good.
we realized that Batman was a murderer when we first met him. He was snapping people's necks and stuff.
Well, yeah, he was. He was trying real hard to not kill people, but
Sure.
eventually, yeah, at some point,
Well, you get
I
fed
mean,
up.
if you really,
Yeah, we just had enough of these.
yeah,
people.
I mean,
All these.
there could be some snap necks where I'm going.
Sure, there could be some snap necks. That's right. Snap necks and misaligned bicycles.
I'm here to pick up my bike.
Oh, Batman. That's fantastic. All right, man. Well, be careful getting your bike.
All right, we'll talk to y'all later.
All right, man. See you. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You got a little reprieve from us
I don't know what.
with Casey Jones.
I know a
talking
little
about
bit
his
about what he was
BMX
talking about. There we
bicycle.
go, okay.
Yeah. So Casey Jones used to be he was a big BMX rider.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah. And then life happened, and now he's not. But he's continued to buy BMX bicycles all along the way, and so he had all these bicycles in the boxes still, like in storage. And then he went to see his doctor, and his doctor's like, "Yeah, you need to get some exercise." And so he's like, "Well, okay, so I'll
Yeah.
take these things, get them worked on, and see if I can't break my back."
Yeah.
So he took it to a place here in town, and then they apparently screwed it up.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hey, by the way, Aquaman. I think that's where we left off. This show, it's a mess.
It is. Hey, it's a fitting. This is if this is the first episode you're listening to, then it's gonna prepare you for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's not bad, honestly. We
We have a good show, but we have fun, and it goes off the rails sometimes.
Yeah, we're unfiltered. By the way, anybody who's listening to this, we get a lot of that here. People come in and they're just like, "Oh, I don't know if you want to give me a show. I am just so unfiltered. You never know what I'm going to say." Shut up. No, we know exactly what you're going to say. It's the same words everybody else says.
Yeah. Usually, the ones that you have to worry about are the ones who don't tell you that they are.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
You'll learn that that's how it is a lot of ways in life. Is usually the people you have to worry about being certain ways
Yep.
are the ones who don't tell you they are certain ways.
They are not going to tell you that because then they wouldn't get away with it.
Yep. All right. So Namor and Aquaman. Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and dive into February
Let's
where
do
things
it.
started spicing up a bit.
Hopefully my mother will call in the middle of this one or something.
This is going to be an extravaganza.
Yeah. It's just
We
we're
should have
we're
just
taking calls today.
We should just randomly call people throughout. It's our New Year's extravaganza.
yeah.
So we talk about what we do.
We have
just
guests.
randomly talk to
Sure.
people. Should I go connect? I could. Oh,
No,
man.
no.
That's too much. Here we go.
You know what you do need though?
What's that? More
Hey
anxiety.
everyone, this is Stu Fuchs from Ukulele Zen. I hope you're doing well. I
his
wanted to
name
take
is
this
Stu
moment and
Pukes?
say thank
No,
you very
I
much.
think Stu, it was
Wish
with a
you
G.
a very happy new year. Thank you so much for being part of my YouTube channel and making it a place where it's
I
very
will say, it's
positive
very
vibration.
zen-like.
People
It
who
is.
come and relate to one another in the comment section
Although,
in a very
I haven't seen him
friendly
blink.
way. Really appreciate all the support that
See that? He
offered
doesn't
me
blink.
on Patreon.
I don't know about
Thanks
that.
to everyone who's come to
I didn't-
any one of my 35 live events across North
35
America
live
and the
events across
Caribbean.
North America.
Dude,
You have all
he's
made
killing
my
it.
2019
That's 3 years
one of
ago.
the best years
He
of
could
my
be dead
life.
by now.
Oh, one of
I'm really grateful.
2019.
So,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Things don't
Yeah,
go
he
well.
doesn't know what's coming, does he?
Loved ones.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful.
When I look
New
back at
Year's Eve.
this, I was
all
so
blessings for the year to come. Thank you so much.
This is gonna be our most fucked show. I'm just saying.
sure. Oh, look at him. He is. All right, for you people that can't see him, which is everyone.
This is a solid cover. I'm not gonna
He's
lie.
like in a bathrobe.
I don't know about that.
Well, it looks like, or a kimono. Or is that a jacket? I don't know. Dude is taking his ukulele very seriously.
I don't know.
Which I
don't
mean, I
mind
guess you
this.
should take your
I don't
ukulele
mind
very
that at
serious.
all.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, February.
February.
Oh, this is gonna be a long episode.
You're good. We'll get through it.
we went to Nemesis Reloaded #1.
Yeah. Hey, you're
We
having
didn't
a
cover
baby.
the
Let's
re-
blow you up.
We didn't cover the rest
Oh, that's
of
right.
Nemesis.
Is this the second Nemesis?
This is the second one. We
Nemesis.
covered the first issue. Like we talked about it a bit. It was
Yeah.
good. It was a bit different. It just set up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So there was things that you kind of needed to know about the rest of like his world in a bit to make it all make sense.
Right.
It was not as over the top as the first one.
Yeah.
It was still good.
Yeah, I remember that.
Still solid, but yeah, we should probably. Well, I'm sure at some point in time finish it, but we only covered the first one.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not super worried about Nemesis.
The one that the gem for me this year, and I have another one saved for this upcoming year too, is
Okay.
there's like a collection of comics that everybody knows are just awful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to waste all those at one point in time. Or it's some that everybody knows are bad and they've kind of been swept under the rug, and it's up for me to pull them back out to remind everybody.
Okay.
One of them that we got to cover in February, which I loved, we did. It was a 5-issue series,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like that. Was Trouble? Do you remember Trouble?
Oh yeah, that one
With-
made me feel weird.
The covers were actual
it
like
was like
models.
softcore. Yeah, it was terrible.
We didn't know the age of the models,
Oh,
which was
no.
very weird too, because
No,
it
it
was
was-
supposed to be kids right out of high school. So
Yeah, I don't.
They looked younger than that.
No. Those kids were younger than that.
But it was a Marvel comic, and it was essentially about Peter Parker's parents
yeah,
and his Aunt May and his Uncle Ben.
not a big fan.
And it's essentially of how his dad, Richie, got his Aunt May pregnant. And in this world, Aunt May is really Peter's mom. But the comic as a whole was just very weird. And
Yeah,
it
it
was
just
like
didn't-
try to be romance, but it wasn't right. It was,
No, it just felt. You felt like you needed a shower.
it was overly like, I don't know. But it's worth the read just to be like,
too
ugh.
sexualized. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing better than seeing Aunt May holding
Yeah.
a condom, being like, "You hit the jackpot, Tiger."
Boy, oh boy.
I say that in a way sounding like it's not that. It's just it's funny to me that it was a character like Aunt May that they're kind of redoing like
Yeah, it's like
this.
taking Grandma from the Tweety and Sylvester show and making
See,
her.
I would be fine with that
hot
too.
lady.
I'd be fine with that too. Just don't try to make her be Sylvester's mom all of a
That's
sudden.
true. That would be really weird.
Yeah.
She's
Somewhere on the
literally a cat
internet.
lady.
Somewhere on the internet it
Yeah.
exists.
Oh, yeah.
and
Rule 34.
speaking of cat ladies, we'll get to some cat ladies later too.
Great.
And then we closed out February with some Frank Miller back-to-back. We had the fantastic Batman The Dark Knight Returns,
That is great.
followed by the not-so-good Batman The Dark Knight Strikes Again, where it was like Robin turned himself into the Joker, and
Didn't
it
like
was
that.
it was all very overtly sexualized, but the main thing was the art. Do you remember the art from it? Here, I'll pull it up to
Not
remind you while we're
necessarily.
doing this.
I just remember that it felt like a real stretch, like because Dark Knight Returns is I mean, it's arguably one of the best comics ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so well done with the art, the story, everything. But any of that stuff after it, oof.
Yeah, I remember that
rough.
we just thought the art looked so bad
Yeah.
in The Dark Knight Strikes Again, and I'm trying to
Was
find.
is that Frank Miller also?
Yes, it is. And remember, it was like where the cat girl looked like
Yeah,
that, like she
that's-
changed herself from
Yeah,
Robin.
that's awful looking. Yeah.
And it was all overly styled. Oh yeah, that's right. She carries Adam in her mouth. Remember to get rid of him.
yeah, I don't like that.
But it was all very much that art style of just
like a eighth grader.
yeah, kind of.
It's kind of what it felt. I mean, it just felt.
I want to try to find the Joker thing again, but it's a lot different and it's a lot angrier and just not. I don't know. Like you can tell a lot happened in the time between when he did the first one and
Yeah.
when he did the
Yeah.
follow up here,
Very much
because like yeah, that's the art from it.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's just so. It just looks like scratches for the most part. It's just not done well.
Yeah, it's very stylized. Or I loved how like the beat up is just more beat up. Batman just looks more like scribbly.
Yeah,
But-
I don't like it. I don't
Anyway.
it reminds me of what are those scribble cartoons? Was it Bill Plimpton that used to do those scribbly cartoons? Anyway, I think he's the guy that did "My Spoon Is Too Big." That thing.
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
No,
You don't remember that?
no,
My spoon is too big.
Mr. Bill.
No.
Oh,
No.
that's what your voice reminds me of.
Yeah, I know.
In March, we had a couple different things of Jimmy Olsen. We started off with Superman is Jimmy Olsen's dad in a one-off story that we talked about a little bit last week too. That was just Superman is a terrible dad.
Don Hertzfeld. Sorry.
Oh,
He's the
yeah.
one that did My Spoon Is Too Big.
No, I don't know that.
2008.
Oh, I thought it was older than that, but no, I don't know it.
Don, I'm sorry. I know you were in the middle of something. Don Hertzfeld is a guy that he was hired to do these cartoon commercials for like Discovery Channel, and instead he turned in all this crap with like a banana and the kid saying my spoon's too big and all this stuff. It's hilarious. If anybody wants to go look at it. My spoon is too big.
I'll
All
have
right,
to hunt
sorry.
this stuff down. No, you're
Okay.
fine. In March, we covered the Jimmy Olsen stuff. We already talked a little bit last week about how just terrible of a dad Superman was.
Yeah, Superman's a dick.
And he like adopted him, but then overheard in like his Superman radio that a son would
Superman radio.
that a son would kill Superman, and he was an idiot and thought SON instead of SUN, and
Yeah.
realized, oh, well, I got to go fix something in the solar system out there. But I
KSUP.
still don't want to adopt you, Jimmy. We also had more.
That's the one where he took all his trophies.
Yeah. We also had more Jimmy Olsen stories that we did later, where I
My
think
pal Jimmy Olsen.
yeah, our Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. But there was, I'm trying to remember. I think we had one where they had a robot that he fell in love with. Remember, as a love interest of his.
It was in the closet.
Yeah, and then there was one.
Wasn't the robot in the closet?
No, that
What was
okay.
the one that was in the closet?
So we'll get to that.
Okay,
That's
all right.
that was. Ooh, that might have been the year
was
before.
it might
It's a
have been.
Superboy one.
Yeah, that was Superboy.
That was
'cause
with Bizarro.
he was like hiding a bunch of shit in his closet.
It was Bizarro, and there was
Yeah.
Superboy
Yeah, I
robots in
didn't-
there.
that
Yeah.
That made me feel funny.
And he
too. I
killed
didn't like it.
killed Bizarro.
Yes,
And all Bizarro
yes.
wanted was love.
Bizarro, yeah, it came out that like literally in that story, Superman was just a murderer.
Yeah.
and he was terrible.
Yeah, kind of like he is in these Superman's pals, Jimmy Olsen stories. We also did some more good Silver Age stuff. We talked about Fat Flash, which
Fat
was
Flash.
Gorilla. It was somehow Gorilla Grodd made him way over.
Yeah.
No, Gorilla Grodd came or entered his brain somehow and caused him to like gain 1,000 pounds.
We've
from
all been there.
Yeah, it was a really strange story, but funny at the time. It made for a weird kind of cover, but also the joy of that episode, at least for me, one of my favorites was believe it was Batman 147, but how could we forget the tale of Bat Baby?
Bat Baby.
And I would argue maybe the greatest Batman villain of all time, which would be Garth the Renegade Scientist. Who,
You're going to have to remind me about Garth the Renegade
so
Scientist.
Garth the
because I don't
Renegade
know.
Scientist is the guy who created the ray that shrunk Batman down to the baby.
He was Dr. Shrinker.
Yeah, and then while he's they throw like a smoke pellet to escape while he's being shrunken down. But Garth thought this through and had a camera installed in the ray. So it took a picture of Batman as a baby, and he sent the picture out to the news and was like, hey, you guys need to know, or to the newspapers. He's like, hey, you guys need to know that this is what I've done to Batman. You should let the public know. And so they released the news story of like, oh, Batman can't fight crime anymore. He's a baby.
The issue to me is not that he sent it out. It's the fact that like Spider-Man and Batman both are in that world where it's about the newspaper.
Yeah.
Right? Well, Superman also, right? But they're really bad at news
They are.
in both of those universes.
No, for sure.
Like they just take whatever comes along and just run with it. They don't vet it. They don't ask questions.
Nope.
They just go, "Up, Superman's evil now. Bye."
It's easier. It's easier
I
to tell those
guess.
stories.
Yeah.
It also includes Batman sliding down a ramp on like one of those toy horses and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I remember he had the mind and the strength of an adult. He just looked like a baby.
Yeah.
It was a great one there. I
like
recommend
Super
going
Baby.
back and reading
Do
it.
you remember the oh shit, what were they called? They were like weird superheroes. They were shit. It was like Birdman, not the Birdman, but it was Cuckoo Man, Baby Man.
No, I'm lost.
Really?
What is this?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll come back.
So that closed out. Oh, and then also in March, we covered something serious, and it was one of my actual favorite comic book stories, and that is the Justice League of America and the Tower of Babel, which was a Mark Waid story of essentially where Ra's al Ghul steals all of Batman's kind of safety net plans for if things went wrong. Okay, they look familiar, but
the Mighty Heroes. Yeah, you had Strong Man, Rope Man, Baby Man, Cuckoo Man, and I don't remember what the other one was called. But anyway, Mighty Heroes. Yeah.
But Ra's al Ghul essentially takes Batman's countermeasures for all the members of the Justice League and uses it against them to render them useless.
Yeah, I do remember that. It was very good.
It was a really good story. So that's a solid one that I love, and you can go back and do that. April, we covered Justin Wright, who was another back in the old public domain days, but he tied a handkerchief around his face when he fought crime. He like blindfolded himself.
Oh yeah,
it was only like one issue.
Yeah,
and
that
then
was one of those old like 40s.
Yeah. And also around that time we had Bingo the Amazing Kangaroo.
Oh, I do remember Bingo
because Bingo would talk and get angry and was very animated.
Bingo kicked somebody out of an airplane or something. Yeah.
Yes. Bingo was a murdering crime-fighting kangaroo.
Crime-fighting, which is weird because those two things are juxtaposed. That they shouldn't go together.
No, that's
you
very
true. You should be a murderer and a crime fighter. Talking to you, Batman.
Are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
Do you?
What you need?
I was thinking, but I should have planned this out more.
No,
it's
you're
no
good.
biggie.
Go for it. What do you need?
I was wanting to see if we could find for the next one any of the clips from the Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos of him giving advice. Because to close out April, we covered all of the Chuck Norris and the Karate Commando series. And we found out that he also did cartoons and gave advice. Yeah, it's like those from there beforehand. And it was just so great of like, sometimes in life, it'll give you lemonade. Or not it'll give you, but sometimes life will give you lemons, and it's up to you to make it, into lemonade.
Sometimes
I remember
life will give you
sometime,
diarrhea.
he's like, I remember sometime, I think they were the Claw, whoever they fought. I remember one time when the Claw, took us down somewhere, yada, yada, yada.
Chuck Norris.
The intro is great.
Chuck Norris, man of action.
He just says his name like 17 times. I'm going to
Chuck
count.
Norris stars in Chuck Norris Karate Commandos.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris.
5.
He's got nerves of steel and strength to match.
Chuck Norris. Just count for all the music. It is typical, like, late 80s, early 90s cartoon.
Looks like a G.I.
Chuck Norris with his team, Pepper.
It's too dangerous, Chuck. Wow.
Too much.
I forgot about Too Much.
Timo, the samurai warrior. Reed, Chuck's teenage apprentice.
Chuck, I'm going to count that.
Tabe, a sumo champion. With Chuck Norris, they battle the sinister forces of the Claw
It is the Claw.
and the ruthless Super Ninja.
I'll finish Norris.
Chuck Norris stars in Chuck Norris Karate Commandos.
You
like
were very close.
10
dude.
or
That's
11,
10
right?
times. 10 times, yeah.
In like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So every 3 seconds you're
Yeah,
hearing a Chuck
that's
Norris.
wonderful. Yeah.
But
Go
he,
Chuck Norris,
he would
go.
also give I
he gave
remember
advice.
one time of, when they sent us down to Florida and some kind of gators. Oh, it was great. So, we found out that poor Steve Ditko did art on one of those.
Oh, and the Chuck Norris thing?
Yeah, that was some
yeah.
of his late work,
Yeah.
is that he had to draw some of the, and it's him working out
Yeah,
too
he's just
before
working
he
on one of those
starts
slide
talking.
things, which is
You ever made a mistake?
nope.
Of course you have. We all have. Many times it's hard to face up to that mistake because it means you may be laughed at or punished.
He's all sweaty.
But when you
with a
do
half
face
shirt.
up to your mistake and
Tiny
know
shorts.
you'll never do it again, then you become a much stronger person. And we needed all that strength on the island of the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with The Walking Dead.
No. TM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I loved that.
So stupid.
Oh, they were so bad, but they were
Yeah,
so
They're
great.
very bad, but they're awesome.
At one point in time too, I think like Reed was his son, like adopted son.
Yes,
remember he
I
had
do
an
remember that.
adopted
Yeah,
son
it
before
was,
they
he was the son, and then all of a
apprentice.
sudden he was his apprentice.
they were like,
and
this is kind of weird.
then I like never mentioned it again.
They
Yeah.
did. In May, we went down the music route. We covered Ice Ice Baby, the
Oh,
Vanilla
yeah.
Ice story,
Yeah,
or at
that's a
least
good
up
one.
until 1992
Yeah.
when the comic came out. So
Yeah.
we did not hit the downfall at all. It was all the rise.
There was nothing about him renovating homes in Florida.
But he still had gotten into enough problems by
Oh,
then.
yeah.
But the Ninja Rap had just come out, so he was on top when we stopped there. We also
I just remember that one being like, they were trying to convince us what a streetwise person he was.
Yes.
But yet he was like, Mom, I'm going to do this thing or what, you
yeah,
know.
they
he
tried
was-
to do that, but
yeah.
then they would also like throw
Yeah.
in just like disses
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
were like, he gave a name about being this super talented, motorcycle racer. We never found any records. Like they
Yeah.
just purposely like
it was like at the end of the comic, it was almost like, yeah, we've had enough of this guy. Yeah, that was, yeah.
Oh man,
good stuff.
Those were great. And then we also had the X-Men. We covered a couple of the like specials that they would have in the Dallas Morning News or the Dallas Times Herald at the
Well,
time.
We went to the state fair.
That's the one we did,
Yep.
the X-Men at the Texas State Fair,
Yeah.
where Big Tex helped them.
See, it's funny. I really remember the ones that are branded with things.
Yes.
You know, like
We also had the one, I don't think we got, or maybe it was the time before. That might have been last year. We did those PSA ones too that I
love
remember
the
about
PSA.
the
Spider-Man was trying to keep kids from
having sex. Yeah, there was one of those.
Yeah, that was
because
good.
it was an alien that was, oh man, those are
Right.
great. Also, another one that we got to that kind of fits in that branded one, and maybe you do or don't remember this one, but was Craftsman Bolt-On Saves the Justice League.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because I used to work at Sears. So, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's essentially like the Craftsman service guy was left in the Justice League headquarters to work on stuff when they invaded, and he took out
Everything
every.
was like, we got to go fight crime, but the Craftsman service guy is going to stay here and fix the fridge. Or, so, it's, what?
And then we closed out May with, do you remember Brute Force? So Brute Force were the animal / robots,
yes. Yes,
that
yes.
were all about environmental.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were protectors of the environment.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. That was about the same time as like Captain Planet and
Yeah,
stuff like that. I
it
think we
was,
talked
and
about
they
that.
fought other evil,
Yeah.
polluting
Yeah.
animal
Yeah,
machines.
they fought the people who don't recycle.
Yeah, essentially. We'll go through June real quick, and
You
then
don't
we'll come back and
recycle.
close it out because we kept an animal theme. We did Animax next, which
Chuck Norris would be pissed off if you don't recycle.
hey, very much so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's like pro.
Hey, you ever make a mistake? Of course you have.
Yeah, I don't. I'm Chuck
I
Norris.
don't. I'm Chuck Norris. Fuck
but
you.
we did Animax. We did Animax, which was
Yeah, I
the
remember
animal
Animax, too.
cars
Yeah.
that humans
Yeah.
drove, but they had to wear the
Yeah,
helmets to
didn't like that
communicate.
either. No.
And then like they died, but it was really weird.
That was the one where we talked about how that they made it entirely so that they could spin it off into toys.
Yes, and that's
cartoon,
all they did.
And it never happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like they created the whole comic and then
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
came
yeah,
from
yeah.
it. I'll go ahead and we'll come back and we'll close out with the rest of June as well as I feel like I'm going in and out. Maybe it's my headphones.
I think you're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound fine. It's
But
that time of year.
we'll come back and close out our look at the rest of the year from the last half of June on right after this. Welcome back into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. And it usually would be a year in review, but since it's the first of the year, it's still a year in review, but
Yeah.
of 2023.
Yeah.
Looking back on all the things that we kind of covered and dove into, realizing a lot of crazy stuff, but a lot of fun.
The other thing is like you've made it. You've made it to 2024, folks.
Yeah.
You know, it was touch and go there since about 2019. 5 years down the road, we've made it.
Back when the ukulele guy was having his banner.
That's
year.
true. That's true. Oh boy, I did.
I hope.
I
that
really
it
want
worked
to take a
out
deep
for
dive
him.
and find out where he's at.
I hope
now.
he's doing okay. Okay, Mike doesn't. I do. We closed out June. We'll wrap
robe.
that up
I didn't like that robe.
with Nightcat, which Nightcat was
Nightcat.
awesome for so many reasons because we got to listen to music from Nightcat
Well,
too.
not only that, she's like a real person.
Yeah, it was a real person, Jacqueline Tavares, or at least that's what they
Wow, look
named
at
her in.
Yeah.
I can't see all. I don't know why it stays up
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
but
Well, we've talked about that before. Like, I can't find my way home, but I can remember a
Yeah.
commercial from 1972.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they took her and they branded her and they made an actual like album and
Yeah.
made a
Oh,
song.
yeah.
It was
She was like, there's pictures on the internet of her going and signing the covers and all that
yes.
stuff.
So it's
Yeah.
all out there and it's
She
just
had a whole
so-
tour.
Yeah.
Like where she was actually performing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's crazy that all that happened, but it's so Stan Lee makes an appearance in it and talks about how he's going to make her the next big thing, but
Oh,
she's a
sure.
crime fighter / singing sensation.
Well, isn't she the one that like her dad doesn't know she's going out and singing
Yes.
at night?
And so he's a
Yeah.
cop and it was
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
her
Yeah. And then he gets killed.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And then she goes on
That's
has
why
like
she fights crime.
the greatest concert of her
Yeah.
life the night he dies.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, oh,
He dies protecting her, remember?
Yeah.
And he realizes then that
my dad is dead. I gotta go sing. Okay.
Oh man. Then we get into July. We talked about it coming up for February, but we had more romance comics.
Yeah.
Always great because they're always ridiculous. We'll have more coming up for those
Was
in
that Too
February.
Fat
too.
for Love?
That was
was
the
that
first
earlier?
ones. Those were earlier.
Okay.
These were the ones we came back with through was like the one where I think like
This was Dear God, Your Stubble.
no, that was the
Was
first
that
one too.
earlier
This was
too?
the one with the I was jailbait. And it was like the guy spanked
Yeah,
her
he would
in
spank
front
her.
of
Yeah, in front of her
It was
parents. Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's all strange.
do
It's all
remember that,
hilarious.
yeah.
There's going to be a lot of great romance
God, I
comics
love
there
those
too.
things.
We
Those
also
and the branded
did,
ones, man. That is my jam. I
we're
love
getting
those
to another
things. Yeah.
branded one, which was Marvel and the Electric Company.
Oh,
the
yeah.
different Spider-Man
Spidey.
adventures. There was one where he fought the Tickler, who had like feathers taped to his
Yep,
fingers.
Yep. It was always such cheap props.
Yes.
Like, it was, okay, what do we got sitting around? Okay, you're the tickler.
Was he the one, or no, maybe it wasn't the Tickler, maybe it was the Jokester or something, because he like threw measles at people too,
Yeah,
right?
he had that
It was a
spotted
bag
thing.
of it was just a bag of measles.
Yeah. That's how
There was also the brick wall that he fought. That,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
but they got into a fight out in the Mets game in the outfield, so they
Yeah.
both got kicked out. So it
Yeah.
ends with both of them sitting on the bench outside the
Yes.
Shea Stadium.
Yes. Yeah,
those are great.
Electric Company's a ridiculous show. If anybody out there doesn't know what we're talking about, just go on YouTube and look up the Electric Company from like the 70s.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
it was
baby.
great,
Ooh,
man. That
baby,
was fun.
baby.
Then we also had
Morgan Freeman.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
narrated some of those
Count
that we went back and
Blackula,
watched
yeah, and then he would do the narration of the
for the
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
stuff.
ones. The Whistler, who
The
would
Whistler.
scare criminals by whistling.
Yeah,
And then we also, for July, we did the Origin of the Battletoads that was in the Nintendo Power issues.
I know a shiver goes right down my leg anytime somebody whistles.
It was like notes. Like it would just, and they would all, like, they wouldn't be able to move. It
I think
would,
we
like,
talked about
petrify
the
them
brown
in
note
fear.
during that too, right?
We did.
Yeah.
And then we also covered the Origin of the Battletoads from
the
those 2
Battletoads,
issues of
yeah.
Nintendo Power,
Yeah.
which was kind of cool just to be able to look to a video game magazine.
Sure.
But
yeah.
August, we went back to the 40s for a little short story about Angel and the Armless Tiger Man.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this stuff's like all flooding back now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, when I was making this list, I was like, wow, we did all of this year.
We've done a lot.
We have. We also did an issue of Strange Adventures, and I did a couple of stories from there. One was The Man Who Could Vanish.
Yeah. So is that the one where he was drawing himself in the comic, or was that an earlier one also? Remember when the guy was like drawing his own fate?
Yeah, okay, so that was all in these Strange
Yeah,
Adventures
that's what I
here.
thought, yeah.
It was The Man Who Vanished, or maybe, no. That might have been the Halloween one we did from
maybe.
2022 with I think it was a Tales from the Crypt, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was.
That's the one, but
'Cause I
yeah,
remember
where he drew his tombstone
he like
and
sees his
yeah.
own like yeah.
No, this was the one, The Guy Who Could Vanish, and it was also Mr. Wilkins Sees the Future.
Oh, I do
where he
remember
had that
that.
magazine, and it was like
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
was on the
He was-
cover, and
he
he
was
can never figure out why.
The most normal guy.
Yes,
or the
that's
most
what it
plain
ended up
guy
being.
in the
He did
universe.
nothing
Yeah.
extraordinary.
He was like the non-extraordinary man.
But it's always fun to look back on those old ones. September, we kind of went down a little bit of a strange path for a couple weeks, but they
No
were
shit.
fun. We always do. But the first one was Batman and Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, that was good.
That both
I
of the,
actually enjoyed that.
even the Batman story and the Looney Tunes story, because
Yeah.
the Looney Tunes story was very Looney Tunes in there
Yeah.
of how what you would want of like Batman getting, the whole rabbit season or bat season, rabbit season argument
Yeah.
with Bugs and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was fun.
But it worked,
Yes.
which was so weird to me.
And then, because I love at the end to trick Elmer, the two of them look at each other and they go, Robin season.
Yeah.
And he like has summoned the whole
Yeah.
Bat family to
Yeah.
distract Elmer.
Yeah.
And it's funny. But then the actual serious one that they did,
And Elmer's a drunk.
yeah, in the serious,
serious
yeah,
one, yeah.
he is.
Yeah,
And Bugs is just kind of a
All of them.
asshole.
Yeah.
It's really good though.
It is good. Very good, yeah.
And then the week after that, we did Wonder Woman and the Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah, that one wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good, but it wasn't
He
bad.
spoke to her in pictograms.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like she could read his
It's like-
thoughts. I forgot about that. She could read his thoughts. They essentially retold then for the Looney Tunes story in that one, the whole Odyssey, or at least the Battle of Troy.
Yeah.
But it was solid still.
Oh
And
my
then we
God.
also started our kind of Marvel history look back, and that kind of covered
Yeah.
at least a little bit through the rest of the year. We would have episodes here and there of just kind of at least setting up how Marvel got through the 60s and just telling, I think, a very interesting story
Oh,
there.
it's super interesting. Yeah, yeah. We did several episodes on that, and then ended up the year with Beneath the Trees.
Yep,
Nobody
and
Sees
that's
and that
so.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
In October, we also covered the very first issue of Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah.
Got to see how that started, which was actually really cool to see the kind of birth of Marvel Comics, because that's the one that started it all, and see how they transitioned from those like monster comics and stuff into the
Yeah.
superhero world, and it was just very interesting to see and very different for its time.
And that was the one that got DC all riled up too, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's so like Fantastic Four is the reason that Marvel would eventually surpass DC and hasn't let go since.
But that's when they really started
Yes,
fighting.
they started.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
right there. We also covered, as Mike kind of brought up, Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees. We covered the
great
first
story.
issue there in October for our Halloween.
Good stuff.
We just covered issue 2 a couple weeks ago here in December. I think we're enjoying it a lot, so I'm probably going to
great.
keep. Yeah, we will keep covering that until it's over.
I love those.
The art, the story, all of it's great. Also in November, we
Pigs eating
covered.
pigs.
That's true. In November, we covered Mr. Miracle issue
Yeah.
introducing Funky Flashman.
Funky Flashman.
But also kind of got a little tease of Mr. Miracle as a character. We'll get into more in the month of
yeah,
January.
we've been introduced to Mr. Miracle. We've been introduced to Big Bertha,
to
right?
Big Barda,
Big Barda, same thing.
Oberon, all those characters.
Yeah,
but
all
Mike
of
will know
those
them, yeah.
during that one, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And
and this is the same Big Barda that
Kirby-
Superman tried to.
Yeah,
mark?
yeah.
Okay.
That because of that, I can't remember that guy's name. It was like Sludge or something.
Yeah,
he was
something
like,
like that, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some alien tried to talk
Sludge.
Superman into a sex tape. That's a back one you can go listen to. It's Action Comics 587, I think.
Ooh, boy.
Superman and My Wife. I'm pretty sure it's
Yep,
the title
that's
of
exactly right.
it. Also in November, speaking of Superman, we did Superman Speeding Bullet,
Oh yeah.
which was if essentially Superman landed in Gotham and was found by the Waynes.
He was Batman, Superman. That was cool.
It was cool,
I enjoyed that
and it was really fun until
he
Lex Luthor turned into the Joker. No, it wasn't even Lex Luthor turning into the Joker. It was the helicopter.
he just has a propeller
blade.
bust out of his ass. And
Yeah,
he's
he kind of
flying through
turned.
the sky.
Yeah, he kind of turned into Inspector
Yeah, he was Inspector
Gadget. A bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Was that
so-
the Claw also in the Inspector
Yeah.
Gadget? Okay.
Yeah. Our Professor Claw, Doctor Claw, something like that. And then for December we
Professor
closed out.
Emeritus Claw.
We closed out with the Beneath the Trees issue 2, and then we did not one but 2 different Woolworths Christmas books.
We did, and those were fun. Enjoyed them quite a bit, and I can remember those because they just like yesterday,
Yeah, just like yesterday.
or maybe 2 days ago.
Maybe. Huh.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was the year we had, and then
It was great, man. I really always enjoyed doing the show with you. The fact that you're here now as part of Rogue Media is a big deal.
it is. It makes it easier for us to get this
It
done,
does
too.
definitely make it easier for us to record. We don't have to do it on Saturdays anymore or Sundays. And I think that going forward, you and I are going to find some really cool projects to work on.
I think so,
because
too.
you're here, and I mean, there's a lot of sports stuff coming, but I think there's some weird stuff coming too.
I think there's some weird stuff, and I think there's some cool stuff even here on the nerdy side of this stuff that we can do too.
I'll
So
keep
I'm-
making weird stuff and dragging you through it.
Oh, and I will gladly just let you drag me with me. But so there you go. That
That's
was
it.
2023.
was great.
We're going to have
It
a
was a good
lot of great stuff coming up in 2024. I kind of teased what's coming up in January, but I can tell you we have just as much craziness. Since we're going to do something more serious, I have plans for the ridiculous things to follow as well, including a book that I don't know if you've ever heard of called Marvel, which is like a 7-issue series back in the early 2000s, I want to say.
Okay.
Bill Jemas, who was the president of Marvel at the time, who never wrote a comic before. They essentially had a competition between themselves. It was, I'm trying to remember. I think it was,
So was he an artist or what was
no, he wasn't. Like, he just wrote the book.
He's just a guy?
Yeah, he was he was just high up in Marvel.
Oh.
And
he had never written a comic book, but he
nope,
wrote
and he
this
thought that anybody could do it. And it like starts as like it makes fun of DC the whole time,
Yeah.
and like Ted Turner, and then it just like spans into like his thoughts on the creation of life, and it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. It has terrible jokes, like. And it was printed by Marvel. They thought that it would be a thing, to the point where the last like issue 7, I'm pretty sure, is just the guidelines and the instructions for like how to enter Marvel's writing contest. Like they didn't even, but it was all just based off of a bet with like Peter David and Captain Marvel, to where Jemas kind of thought like, oh, I bet you I can outsell you, even never doing anything like that.
Wow.
It's all kind of,
Yeah,
it is bad.
looking
I have
forward to
that
that.
saved for this year.
That'd be cool.
I have a lot of things like that. So there's a ton of craziness for us to get into, tons of things to look forward to. But as always, we appreciate you guys being along
Absolutely.
for the ride.
Yeah.
And
Have a great 2024.
for sure,
Keep listening to podcasts, please.
keep rocking in the free world.
Keep rocking in the free world. And we're pretty well wrapping this up, right?
Yeah, we are. I'll just say,
Okay, go ahead.
we appreciate you listening as always.
Yeah.
And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly con, but here's Tom Waits. How did this guy get popular?
I can't say anything. I love Bob Dylan.
Well, I mean,
I actually like a lot of Tom Waits songs too.
Tom Waits, I've never been a huge fan of.
So
But
there's
he's got that one song, Big in Japan.
yeah.
Oh, I love that song. It's just him saying, I'm big in Japan. That's about it.
I like this. There's a gruff kind of realness to it. I like it.
It's definitely real. I always thought it was a character, you know?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think it's probably like 7 packs a day. I don't know how
Do
much
you
you
remember
have.
that Coffee and Cigarettes movie that Jim Jarmusch made? It's all in black and white. It's got Bill Murray in it, Tom Waits in it, all that
Vaguely.
stuff. They're just like sitting in a coffee shop a lot of the time, smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee and talking to each other.
No.
Anyway.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know why I brought that up.
I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
perfect place to end. All
I
right.
didn't
Bye,
like it.
everybody.
Bye.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
Grey's Anatomy, the most iconic binge-worthy drama, is back, along with answers to the biggest cliffhangers. Will Teddy survive? Will Joe and Link finally find happiness together? Meredith returns along with fan faves like Arizona. You can now stream every episode of Grey's ever on Hulu, and new episodes next day. Watch new episodes of Grey's Anatomy Thursdays at 9/8 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes, facts,
boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Christmas Storybook, a gift to all Santa's children from Woolworths, Santa and the Snowball Patrol.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Jack. Whoa.
He's Jack Frost.
It is. You know what? Forget it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to read it.
You're Jack Frost.
I am Zach, or in this case, yeah, it's Christmas
It's
Day.
Zach Frost.
It's Jack Frost. Zach Frost. I don't know. I'm Zach, joined as always by the merry one. I was trying
That's
in my
your-
head,
That's your like radio overnight name.
Jack Frost.
Zach Frost.
Oh man, you always noticed how, but I'm Zach. He's Mike. Just like always, I was
That
trying to
really
come up
is
with
good,
something
though.
merry.
Like if you were
Zach Frost.
Yeah, like if you were a radio DJ, Zach Frost in
Well,
the
that's what I was-
morning.
that's what I was- it fits very much with like a rock station or like one
Yeah,
of those like
sure.
FM.
Sure.
I have like
Oldies in the morning.
Well,
with Zach
working-
Frost.
working in radio forever. Like you work with people that kind of have those,
Yeah.
type. Granted, I never worked with anybody here in this area that much, but you would still bump into some guys. No, I might have worked with one or two, but anyway.
Yeah.
But it was always just like they had like the little bit of a wacky kind of FM DJ voice in
Yeah.
them. But like the Casey Kasem, hey, we're spinning it back to back and beat to beat, kind of like that.
Keep your feet on the ground and
Yeah.
keep reaching for the stars.
This one comes from little Susie, who says, her dog.
My father died in a terrible fire.
That was
The only thing that got me through it was the song by the Spinners.
Here's Rubber Band Man. Oh man!
Yeah, there you go. Happy Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Her dad died in a fire.
That is the one thing, and I promise we're gonna get
we
into
will.
Christmas theme. But that is the one thing that always kind of made me feel, I don't know, awkward about those replays of the old Casey Kasem.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the dedications were super sad.
Yeah, they're super sad. They're like, my boyfriend left me while I was eating a hoagie. And now I can't eat sandwiches without thinking about him. The only thing that got me through it was Rubber Band Man. Again? Everybody's number one song, Rubber Band Man.
Hey, let's not forget he's the voice of who he was the
He was Scooby Doo.
Scooby. Well, not
No, Shaggy.
Shaggy. Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
he was Shaggy.
Yeah, which is kind of funny too because it
Ruh-roh.
doesn't really fit. But yeah, they were all can't eat
Me and my
sandwiches.
friends were solving crimes.
When
we took off the mask of the mayor who had been killing kids at the amusement park. The only thing that got us through it was the song Rubber Band.
again a third time in an hour.
A third time. We gotta vet these better.
All right. So
You
we
just hear that.
covered-
Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. But that,
Hey, y'all, prepare
All I-
yourself for the rubber.
all I can
band.
think of is like it was like a Staples
I do
commercial
love
or
that song,
something
by the
like
way.
that. You remember that?
Oh yeah, with it was
was
the guy
the-
from My Name
It was
Is Earl.
Crabman. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
So funny.
All right, there you go.
All right.
I'm gonna listen to Rubber Band Man on the way home today. That's a guarantee. But we covered a little bit a couple weeks ago. The first of these, there were 3 that I could find. We'll save the other one for maybe next Christmas. But there are these Woolworths Christmas
Save it
storybooks.
for next Christmas if
I
we're
mean,
all still around.
Well, here's the thing: like, it's not going to do us any good to do it next
Sure.
week
No,
because
no.
we're out of the Christmas season.
Yeah,
Today being
screw
Christmas, it makes
starting
sense.
on the 26th.
But I have something special planned for next week. I decided for us to kind of do a year in review to
Yeah.
kind of just look back at
That's
least
gonna
to
be
see
fun.
what you remember of everything we covered in the last year. I'm sure that we'll remember some things. Just casually talking about it today, I was reminded of the issue that we covered where Superman adopted Jimmy Olsen and just how much of a super dick he was to
And
Jimmy
the only
Olsen.
thing that got me through it was Rubber Band Man.
All
I was
right.
adopted by the world's strongest man.
It was the world's worst dad. We'll do a year in review next
You know,
year,
it's
but
not
we'll
like we
do.
practice this
No,
before we come in or
we
anything.
don't. We
Yeah.
just that's the thing is we didn't prepare any of this, and we have given you a solid 5 minutes on the Spinners and
Yeah.
Rubber Band Man and
I'm
Casey
just
Kasem.
I'm just surprised that when I said the Spinners, you knew it was Rubber Band Man. I
yeah.
think it is.
I'm pretty sure. Here's
Yeah, I don't
you
know
know
for
what I
sure.
have it on my phone, but
Oh,
I'll
boy.
I'm telling you, I love the song. I genuinely do. But so we're gonna cover the year in review next week, and this week we will cover the second of 3 of the Woolworths books. But we did 1952 last week. This week we will be doing 1953. My dad was born in 1953.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the dad that I ate. So I figured that was a great tie-in on
Sure.
segment for Christmas episode
Sure, that sounds
for
wonderful.
people first listening in. There's a long story there that we'll get into later. It has to do with spreading ashes. It's not like I'm a cannibal or anything. Merry Christmas.
Merry
So,
Christmas, everybody.
Rubber Band Man is sung by the Spinners. Yep. Okay.
Good. Nice job.
Thank you. Anyway, in Woolworths, they released a Christmas storybook in 1953. And what these were is it's a collection of it had a comic story in there,
Yeah.
but it's essentially like the Toys R Us. I mean, Toys R Us technically isn't around anymore, but like whatever it is now. For when I was a kid, it was the Target Christmas catalog. Remember those things were like thick. It
Mine
was
was-
Target, it was Toys R Us, it was Sears,
Mine
it
was Sears, yeah.
Yeah,
Sears
there
Big
was.
Book.
There always seemed to be like every holiday season there was like one store that had a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
thick book, and you'd go
Sears
through and
is-
circle stuff.
Yeah,
and
Sears is the one where I circled all the Star Wars figures.
all the
original ones.
the
Kenner.
Kenner. There you go.
Yeah.
But so that's essentially what
I
Woolworths
had
did
one
here.
of those Boba Fett's that they then recalled. Remember the one that he shot a missile out of his back?
No.
And they recalled it because kids were choking on it because they were shooting a missile down their throat, I guess. And so they recalled it and made it where the missile didn't come out anymore. But I had one that fired the missile.
Oh. Ooh,
Yeah.
you were fancy.
Oh, yeah, that's why
Did you try
I'm-
to choke
That's why
yourself
I'm
on it?
still working because I have it. No.
Did you try to choke yourself on it?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, it was that age. I
Well,
was
what
trying to choke
doesn't-
myself on everything.
what-
It was fun. Ego, more.
So Woolworths in the 50s decided, hey, what if we added a Christmas story in here to
Yeah.
try to sell our toys too?
Yeah.
And so we have this week, Santa and the Snowball Patrol is our story to go along with what Mike loves the most out of all these, which is these
The ads.
old toy
Yeah, the
ads.
old ads.
So
Christmas Storybook, a gift to all Santa's children from Woolworths. Santa and the Snowball Patrol.
there you go. You open it up, and the front page there is
And
books
the
that
only
you
thing
can
that got me through it. No.
Rubber Band Man. Books you can color and cut out. They already have
Yeah.
an ad right on the front in there. But
Yeah.
we get into our story because they don't want to bore you with ads to begin with. And very much so, like we had Bobby and Billy, and they like names that have.
I love Lucy cutouts.
Oh, is that what's
for
on
a
the front
quarter.
page?
Yeah, I love Lucy cutouts. That'll give you a time frame on this sucker.
1953.
By the way, down at the bottom it says prices slightly higher in West. What West? Just in the West?
Like, yeah, in the West in general, or like the town West, or like.
Yeah, because I don't think it was a town West. Because this is This was put out printed in the USA by Western Printing and Lithography Company.
Oh, it's the lithography
It's
that
the
gets
lithography
makes
that-
you have
yeah.
to charge a little
That's
bit
right, it's
more.
a little more. Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Little people.
Yeah. So
Janie,
and what's his other name?
Turdball.
No, it's J names. Jimmy, Janie, and Jimmy.
What's the parrot's name?
Gabby.
Gabby. Gabby says, "Let's see the snowman get ahead." Quack.
Yeah, very much. Gabby.
Thank you.
He's annoying through the whole thing.
Oh no, come on.
Yeah. But
He's got earmuffs on the no bird ears. He has.
Well, he's a parrot. He gets cold in the winter.
Yeah.
So the kids make a snowman outside. He kind of looks like Frosty. They're called in for dinner by their mother, and they go to eat dinner. And they're all, you notice, they're all drinking milk, which is kind of weird for dinner.
By the way, this snowman looks swell.
Swell is
What
very
they say,
solid.
looks swell.
The kids tell their parents, "Hey, you think if we go to bed early, since it's Christmas Eve, that we'll get our gifts from Santa quicker?" And their parents are like, "Well, I guess that's possible." And they're like, "All right, then we're going to get ready right after dinner and go to bed."
Well, the father says, "That's very possible, children."
Like he never thought of it before.
And then the parrot right behind him, "Very possible."
Well, he's doing what a parrot does.
Can you imagine living with this thing?
With a parrot?
With
No.
Oh, God.
That had to be the worst. So it looks like they're getting.
The only thing that gives me solace is knowing this was that long ago, so this parrot's dead.
Well, I don't know. Parrots live for a long time, I feel like.
Don't spoil my.
Sorry.
Don't yuck my yum.
I would never.
I love dead parrots. That's my.
I would never yuck your yum.
Yeah.
Mike.
Golly, Christmas Eve is the most exciting time of all.
Yeah. So the kids are getting ready for bed when all of a sudden they hear a tap on
no.
outside their door, and the snowman's just come to life. We don't explain how.
They're not even surprised.
And they're not phased at
and
all.
there's no hat
He's
that
just-
makes him come to life.
And that's what he says. He's like, "Hey guys, you essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but you guys forgot to give me a hat." And they're like, "Oh, hey, you're right." And Gabby goes and grabs their dad's top hat, and the kids are like, "He never wears that. You can have it."
What's that
so
effing parrot that brings it to
it
him?
does. The
How's that, everybody?
Because the kids weren't going to go find one.
Get out of here, parrot.
But then the snowman puts the hat on, says, "Hey, that fits pretty good."
Puts him in a party mood.
And then he's like, "Oh, hold on, where is it?" He goes, "This hat, puts me in a party mood. Why don't we all go to my house for a Christmas
When
party?"
did he get a house?
He's always had one.
Okay.
But the kids don't even question it.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Wonderful. We'll get our hats and coats," is what they
Yeah.
say. They're just like, "Yeah, sure, weird snowman who just came to life and he's not going to murder us." Granted, I guess, it's nice for the children to be able to just to not have that type of.
To slowly drift into insanity by a snowman that talks? Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
I don't know. I guess like the wonderment of a child, if a snowman came and talked to you,
Sure.
you would follow it. But looking at
Sure.
it now,
Straight
if a
to hell
snowman,
is where you
if
would
a
follow it.
snowman came and talked to me, I would have questions first before I would just be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, no, let's go to your house. That sounds fine." Mainly like, how
Well,
are you talking or why? But
I
again,
think maybe
it doesn't work for the story. I
if a
understand.
horse started talking, I'd have fewer questions than an inanimate snowman I just put together that's telling me to go to his house that previously didn't
I realize
exist.
that, and I also realize that we are seeming to attack very hard
Yes.
at children's
Yes,
Christmas
I'm going
comic
to
for
all day
no
long.
reason.
And this damn parrot.
Logic. No, I get that it's
parrot.
Christmas magic, whatever it is. I just find it funny that he's like, "Man, I want to party. You guys want to party? Yeah, we
Well-
love to party, snowman. Let's do this."
Keep going, because there's some other stuff here.
There is, yeah. So he takes them to his snowman
His house.
Yeah, he's got a house,
With a door and everything.
and he opens it, and there's his
Furniture.
wife, who's just Miss Snowman, doesn't have a
Mrs.
first name,
Snowman.
and they have a snowman son
Oh, my Lord.
whose name is Snowdrop. Don't like the name
I
Snowdrop?
don't like this name, Snowdrop.
Okay.
It reminds me of Godzuki.
A little bit.
And I just don't like Godzuki.
I don't like Godzuki either.
Pooh. That thing. Where he did that. It's gross. Get out of here.
But while they're
Godzuki.
there, they're like, "Hey, we'll feed you guys snow,
Snow.
all flavored snow," because that's what. Which here's the thing, I know I made the joke earlier, it now seems fitting. If their snowmen are made out of snow, wouldn't that mean that they're eating?
Yeah, they're eating
other-
themselves.
Yeah,
Well, what
flavor is that what you want
what
to get to?
frightened me a little more is it says yummy chocolate snow.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just saying that brown snow came from somewhere, and if they're eating the snowmen,
you know what I just realized? Because the only other flavor we get is lemon.
yeah. Well, that's what see. Round the back, the fudge is made. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not making that joke.
Yeah, the lemon icicle is delicious. Squawk.
Oh,
That did it.
Wow. I'm not going to take the
I'm just
step.
saying.
No, that's fine. That's fine. My mind is not going to make the leap that I think that it wants
The
to.
fact that
just
the
how
snow
they're,
people
that's
are
how they're.
feeding children their poop and pee. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
This took a terrible Christmas turn. Let's try to get it back on track.
Mm-hmm.
The parrot, Gabby, is shocked because he is resting on some type of antenna, which
Yeah.
gets a signal.
Crackle.
And the signal says North Pole calling Snowdrop.
Oh, God.
And Snowdrop answering North Patrol. Come in, over.
North Patrol.
Yeah. This is Santa Claus. Can you bring the
North
Snowball Patrol to escort me on my Christmas journey? Over? Because you can't talk on walkie-talkies without saying over after
Sure.
everything. And then Snowdrop to Santa Claus. I will summon the Snowball Patrol and join you immediately. Over and out. So,
Snowball Patrol sounds like a softcore movie. Like Snowdrop to Santa Claus. I will summon the Snowball Patrol and join you immediately.
oh man. The kids, Jimmy and Janie want to go with them.
Can we go with you?
Yeah, so can we go with you? And Snowdrop says, of course. Oh, but before we go, you might want to take a dive down the hill of flying snow.
What?
And they're like, what? Flying snow? And here's the thing, to make sure that kids weren't just like, hey, what are we going to do if kids roll themselves in snow and try to fly? We'll tell them that this is the only place in the world that they can find flying snow.
Got it.
But the kids essentially roll down a hill.
They just throw themselves down a
They
hill.
do, just with reckless abandon. And they get covered in snow around their stomachs, kind of like where it looks like they're part snow people, just their arms and legs and heads sticking out. Snowball tells them if they take in a deep breath, and it kind of helps them float so they can fly just like everybody else thanks to the flying snow. We'll pick back up with our story, but next, it's Mike's favorite part. It's our first set of ads.
All right. So right here, let's see. Hang on. I'm still looking at these kids floating in the air. Okay. So Christmas toys and delicious candies.
They tried to push suckers last time, too.
Yeah. Well, they had some left. Line up toy. This is that damn parrot. Line up toy soldiers, beat drums, toot saxophones, all bright plastic with delicious cello wrapped pops and hard candy.
Hey, so all that plastic we can't get rid of, we were pushing in full force back then.
Your grandma was going to love it. Saxophone party horn.
So that saxophone, I just looking at it, I can tell you that I somehow had like a little horn like that too. It's the little plastic
Yeah.
and I don't know, like some people of a certain age probably had, but it had the little buttons on the side, like you
sure.
could push them. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably had a little bit nicer one than this saxophone party horn.
Maybe,
then
or
there's
just a slightly newer, hopefully.
Yeah. Then there's a soldier who stands at attention. All of this is basically just
with
holding
suckers. Yeah.
Santa rides in the soapbox derby. Okay. Spotted giraffe on turning.
On turning?
Carries 2 patches
yeah.
of hard candy. 6. Didn't even tell me what that means.
It's a
on
7.
turning.
I guess the wheels.
I guess. You can play this drum. Comes complete with 2 drumsticks. Holds 6 pops and 2 pouches of candies.
I wonder if it's like, I'd pick one of those drums. Which drum do you want, sir? I would like you can play this drum.
You can play this drum, please. Big stocking and toys. That's one of those crappy stockings that's, made out of like.
Oh, here's
You know
the
what I'm
thing.
talking about?
You brought up prices earlier.
I see it. Yeah.
But they added. It now says prices slightly higher in South and West.
Yeah. So the next one's going to be the price is slightly higher in North, South, East, and West. The last one is the reindeer that pulls Santa in the wagon.
I wonder if it
dumb
had to
little
do with like
reindeer.
plastic prices or something like that.
I don't know, man.
We have
I think-
dolls next.
I think
though.
the E. Rosen company is just fleecing people.
Maybe all these
yeah.
dolls freak me out.
Beautiful dollies that cry, turn heads, open and close eyes. The only reason I say that way is because there's exclamation points after all of these. Their molded hair is quote unquote combed. Their bodies are extra soft - latex.
That's weird.
Latex rubber all stuffed with foam and sponge rubber, and they have vinyl heads. Like that's a selling point. Vinyl heads. You can hear them cry, and it's got a little picture of them going wah. See them nod. Isn't that just shaking baby.
I think that's
And watch
could be
the
bad.
eyes blink. So there's Darling in lace trim pinafore dress. There's Big Girl wears patent belt on dress.
Like a patent leather belt.
Yeah, patent leather. Yeah. And the little girl from the story is telling us they're cuddly as real little girls can't break even if they fall.
And these dollies
Unlike real
cry
little
when
girls.
you squeeze them.
Yeah,
Hold
well,
on. These dollies cry when you squeeze them.
Uh-huh.
Just like babies would.
Just like
probably.
babies, but they cry. They keep crying. You squeeze a real baby, it stops at some point.
Oh, wow. This is very dark for a
Lovely blonde
Christmas episode.
braids.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
and then put up
Merry
this
Christmas.
dolly's waves. They cry, they shake head, they close eyes. Okay.
All those dolls are
If
weird.
you
to
take
me.
that out of context, that's how somebody dies. They cry, they shake their head, then they close their eyes. That's what that is.
That's sure. It's just like, and then boom,
Yep.
down.
This is made by Jolly Toys.
Nothing jolly about those.
Now, next one is toys to shoot, throw, float, build. They're for us and our kid brothers and sisters, says the little fart.
That lamb goes ba and wags his head and tail is back again.
Oh, yeah.
They were there last year. It's
Yeah.
like the little thing you pull on a string and it like its head would move up and
it's
down.
like a pull after toy, like
They're-
the little popping thing
Yeah.
that you push or whatever.
It looks like they gave him some sort of like cheap like horseshoe ring toss game in there too.
Yeah, there's a toss
Oh.
rings and horseshoes. There's alphabet rattles that float in the bathtub.
Those
Of
are-
course, in the same ad, you've got the jet rifle that shoots 6 balls at one loading. Then you have the dart
Brag
pistol
much.
and target set, improves your aim. And then we had these also, the Build-A-Block things. We had those in another ad.
Oh yeah, you're
'Cause
right.
they look like little snowflakes.
The handgun, the dart pistol, it's the one too with like the suction, the plastic
Yes.
with the suction
Yes.
cups on the end. So
Yeah.
they make that, thuck sound when they.
The next one is grown-up dresser sets for little girls. This is exactly like the last ones that we
That-
had.
where it's just
2-piece
kinda like-
set, 6-piece set. Yep. And the girl says, "Picture of your favorite fairy tale princess in the back of the mirror and brush." You don't know who my
It's-
fairy tale princess favorite is.
It's Belle. Mine's always been Belle.
Okay. And then there's just balls.
You're not gonna share?
No.
I shared mine.
Mine is Diana. The the last thing on this page is just balls.
Yeah.
Big balls to bounce and roll. Hey, kids, you can play indoors or out with these soft rubber balls. And
Hey,
look
you
at the
gotta-
bright designs.
You got to sell them balls somehow.
59 cents for the 16-inch
Oh.
and 89 cents
Don't
for the
worry,
18-inch.
balls are only prices are slightly higher in the West for balls.
Oh,
You can
great,
get cheaper
great.
balls in the South.
What
I
are they
wonder
doing
that-
in the West?
So everything has always been more expensive out there. I think because
Where is out there, though?
the West.
Okay.
Follow along, Mike. It's the West.
According to where you are, the West could be a very different place.
That's true, but I think that it was slightly higher in the South at the time because maybe it had to do with plastic prices.
Maybe.
And rubber is fine though in the South.
Probably had something to do with racism, too.
Well,
I would imagine.
if it had to do with the South. So we're back to our story where Snowdrop whistles and
Twee!
all these
That's how this
flying
whistle sounds like.
snowballs in like
With
cadet
hats.
hats
Yeah.
show up. I should mention that Snowdrop's wearing
told
like
you.
a drill sergeant hat.
I told
too.
you this is from the soft core. It says snowballs. Look at them come. So all the little snowballs just like line up like little
And like a
officers.
V, they're like in a V formation with Janie and Jimmy flying in front with Snowdrop and Gabby the parrot. But the little snowballs keep hitting Jimmy as they fly because he can't
Yeah.
really see where he's going.
Yeah, because Jimmy's an idiot.
So they tell Gabby to go down into this tropic area to see if they can find somebody to help guide them around.
Freaking, what's his name? Snow Crusher?
Snowdrop?
What? Snowdrop?
Crusher.
Says Janie and Jimmy are so large they can be our super bombers. All right,
they're
just dial it back a little bit.
Hey, Snowdrop doesn't hang out with a lot of people. He's a snowman
Snowdrop's
child.
a turd. Snowdrop, I'm bumping everyone because I can't see to the right or left of me. You need a navigator to give you directions. That's how he talks.
He does talk like
Hey,
that.
kids.
So
Look at my balls.
They send Gabby down to look at the island down there.
They're flying over jungle country. What is that? What's jungle country?
It's racism, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It looks, I'm assuming that it's supposed to be somewhere in
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, it could be South America, right?
yeah, but it wouldn't make sense if they're headed to the North Pole.
You have to
That's
think
true.
that these are American kids.
Where's the jungle country between here and the North Pole? There isn't one, right?
No.
Is there jungle in Canada?
No.
Dear Santa, is there jungle in Canada?
So they go down and find two birds, though, that apparently are Gabby's cousins. And I
Yeah.
love this,
No,
though,
all birds are cousins. I
because
don't know
they
if you know that.
he says, hey, I met two of my cousins sitting in a palm tree. What a small world.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell them that they'll be their navigators. But they say, we hadn't seen Gabby since the day he was hatched. Then how do you know it's for
You
sure
don't
your
know.
cousin?
You don't know.
That's some guy just went in there and he
that's
was like,
just-
hey, guys, I'm your cousin Gabby. And they're like, okay,
is-
we'll leave our house and navigate these strange flying children for you.
This is also they can just slowly gaslight these children into something.
So they now have navigators. As they fly towards the North Pole, they see that somehow there's a message in the snow that says help,
But
and they figure out that the reindeer are lost.
Snowdrop says we must be getting neap the North Pole.
I think it's supposed to be near.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
And then the reindeers, they're just crying out to
Snowdrop, they're lost, but they knew how to write help in the snow.
Balls.
So they tell Gabby, hey, wait here with the reindeer. Basically, you're going to lead them back. You're going to help them back to the North Pole with us.
What is the deal with these reindeer? Aren't they supposed to have like some sort of guidance system or something in them?
Hey, remember when the reindeer ate that sentient candy rocket ship?
Yes, that was the last one.
That was kind of horrifying.
Yeah, these guys are just going to eat all these snowballs that are talking to them.
So Gabby helps the reindeer, and they all eventually get back to Santa's house. And while they're there, like Snowdrop just tells them, hey, Santa, this is Janie and this is Jimmy. And he's like, all right, welcome, children, but I have bad news. Don't know where my reindeer's at. And the kids are like, Santa, we got you covered there too. So Santa seems like he does not know what he's doing here at all.
Santa has no friggin' clue.
Thankfully, these children are saving Christmas.
Thank God Woolworths is there.
Oh, man, what would we do if not for Woolworths?
Mm-hmm.
But Santa does give them a tour around the shop, showing them like the dolls he's made and some of the trucks and things like that.
This is the room where the dolls and teddy bears are made.
My favorite is, for some reason, though, is Jimmy is shooting like a shotgun kind of, but it's a cork gun. And it says like
It's a double barrel.
the cork shooting shotgun is keen. Like that's weird for a child to say. But also Santa goes, well, I see you found the Western Ranch toys.
Western Ranch toys, where prices are higher.
Oh man, it's accurate. That is where prices are
They
higher.
are loading this. Now they're loading Santa's sleigh.
Yep, they're loading Santa's sleigh.
It doesn't look like enough toys.
It does not, and they're
It's
getting
like
ready.
6 things.
They're getting ready to go out and make all their deliveries. And I think that is going to be, you know what? Actually, before let's go ahead and let's take a look at these toys here, and then we'll take a quick break.
Balloons that look like clowns, animals, curls.
That clown, the green one in the bottom right,
Yeah.
scares me.
Does it?
Look at that.
Oh yeah, look at that. Ooh, it looks like Jimmy Durante clown.
And look, one of its teeth is even yellow in the picture.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to
yeah, that's not great.
Jimmy
Jumbo
Durante
box.
clown.
This is just boxes of balloons.
Yeah, well, one of them has like seals on it, I guess, with mouse ears.
Well, yeah, one of them. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Those are all
That's
weird.
20 balloons with blower.
Yeah, it's the hand pump, or does
yeah.
it come with a person?
I'm sure it's just somebody in there that just
You
Learn-
open the box and a full-size human crawls out. They're like, all right, what do you need me to blow
learn
up
new
for?
party games. Santa says hours of games and fun for pennies. Yeah, those are balloons.
How much
Santa.
fun-
Those are balloons, kid. You're not having a lot of fun with balloons.
What do you think the most fun somebody had with a balloon is?
That kid that floated in the air, Balloon Boy. I think that's the most fun anybody's ever had with a balloon.
or the guy that tied all those weather balloons to his
the guy
lawn
from
chair.
Up. The old man from Up. He's the one
yeah.
that's had the most fun with balloons.
Not really though, because it got really sad
That's
before he
true.
did that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
you
the
gotta,
balloon part, I guess.
you got to
was
trade
cool.
the life of your wife for
a
flight.
flying house. Yeah. That's the real moral of the story.
That's it. All right, next one is look, kids. Most are solid die-cast metal. Lots of
Most.
them have moving parts. Their rubber wheels turn and won't make noise or scrape floors. And what he's talking about, kids, are these wonderful, wonderful metal trucks. There's a farm set with 5 pieces to teach you your new job. Big tow truck with winch you can wind. I used
With
to
the
be married.
winch you can
I used to be
wing.
married to a winch you can wind. Tow truck with movable hoister.
You get a lumber truck with 5 logs.
With 5 logs. Streamlined racer with driver. Cement mixer turns when truck moves. A fire engine with shiny pumper top. Auto transport with 4 cars. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Looking at that auto transporter, it looks more sleek than our current day ones do. And
It
more
does.
futuristic kind of. That's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Just remember, kids, that prices are slightly higher in South and West. I don't understand that.
And this happened within a year because we didn't have that
Yeah.
notice in 52.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, 2 more ads real quick. Scale model trucks, planes, fire engines, farm equipment. Oh, my.
Oh, these are also real quick. These are also higher, but it's the same. It's more from the Hubley Manufacturing Company.
Bastards.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Wings fold on Navy plane. So that's kind of cool. It's a plane that the wings fold up. Tractor with spring seat, because why not? Hook and ladder.
What do you do with this?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I mean, who are you putting in it?
You just sit there and just flick it.
You just put your little figure in it and go boing, and he just flies off, just like on a real farm.
Oh man, Randy was farming a little too hard today.
Hook and ladder with turning turret. Steer road scraper from driver's seat. Tractor with thick treads. Oh, I knew a girl with thick treads. Truck dumps by itself. Oof,
that was my nickname at one point.
That's the fine print you see in those IBS ads. Truck dumps by itself. Steak truck has drop tailgate, and then cattle truck with trailer. Oh, nice. Perfect. Kids, for only $1.69, you can see where your food comes from.
Is that what it says?
Transport the cows to the slaughterhouse. Reenactment.
Knee action wheels.
Knee action wheels.
What is knee action?
Well, it's when your knees are in action. I don't know, man. Knee action wheels, parking wheels fold, cab lifts to show engine. I don't know.
12.5-inch long plastic after it's talking about all this metal. And then lastly,
we have ships. Ships and cars.
Build them yourself. These are models.
Oh, these are models. Oh. Seafarers and landlubbers, ahoy! A hobby for the whole family, says little pirate boy.
See, now this, if you're in the West, you're fine. You don't have to pay more than everybody else.
Real, scale, model, ship, old-time autos. That's not a sentence.
A 1914 Stutz Bearcat.
Yeah, man.
The hot rod of its day.
Yeah, it is. And it's got a little doomed soul in the passenger seat. He's not driving on the right side.
No, he's not.
He's driving on the English side. And as we all know, that's wrong. 1903 Model A Ford, like Grandpa used to drive.
They're all driving on the English side.
Yeah.
But wasn't the Model T, like that was or the Model A, that was an American car.
It was, yeah. Yeah. But it comes complete with picnic hampers on side.
Like Grandpa used to drive.
Yeah. You don't know my grandpa.
First of the famous fivers, complete with picnic hampers.
Picnic hampers.
On the side.
Then there's a 1911 Rolls-Royce Town Car, made you very important. You'd have been the toast of the town in this luxurious car for 89 cents.
Oh, man. That's
Then there's a special gift set. And here's how they get you, right? They sell you these things for like 69 cents, 89 cents, whatever. But then you got to buy the paint and the paintbrushes and all that. It's $3.45.
Well, but I think that's why you get the gift set, because it has parts for 5 model cars in each
for
set.
real?
Plus paints, cement, thinner, and brush. Everything you need. $3.45 and $4.45.
We saw some cement the other day. It was
There were people eating.
AI had generated a cement eating contest, which is
you know what we should
wonderful
do?
thing.
And I just had this idea. We should make our own AI generated comic book.
We should, yeah.
I don't know how they would do that. Like we would just, I assume, make up the story, and then it could.
We've
just
not tried it though. I mean, it may just freaking do it. You know, we just go, hey, make me a comic book.
And then we can just cover the adventures of our once a month. We can check in on our own comic.
Based on the life of whoever.
I don't know.
Mahatma Gandhi as a superhero.
Maybe we have like a rabbit who like solves crime with his telekinetic turtle.
Liking all of this.
I don't know.
I love all that.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a break here real quick. And then when we come back, we'll wrap up the greatness that is this 1953 Woolsworth Christmas book.
Ho, ho.
Okay, and now it is time for us to get back into part 2 of our Woolworths Christmas book from 1953.
Welcome back, kids.
We have
Snuggle up, grab some cocoa.
And I know that you guys were patiently waiting to hear what was going to happen to Janie and Jimmy and Gabby and Santa and all of them as they're now leaving the North Pole to make their trip around the rest of the world to deliver
on the
toys.
edge of my proverbial frozen seat.
And let's not forget that Snowdrop, I'm just kind of resetting the scene, that Snowdrop is there with the Snowball Patrol, which is just a bunch of flying snowballs.
It's just flying faces.
And cadets hats.
Is all it is, yeah.
So Santa loses his hat.
Whoops.
Yep. And just, oops, my cap. But one of the snowballs saves it for
one
him.
of the disembodied heads saves it for him.
And as they're flying over, Snowdrop points out, Santa, look at that strange square island down there in the ocean. And it does. As you see, it just looks like a square of
just
ice.
a big square.
And from here, from the first time we see it, it looks like maybe 5 houses and maybe 4 people there. But later it seems like there could be more. He's like, that is strange. You know, maybe we should land there to get a closer look. But there's these rectangle look like
this is so weird.
Fighter planes, dude. I'm telling you,
it's just boxes with faces on it, with like little square wings and a propeller coming out of the top of their head, and very mad faces.
Very mad, and they're like, "Oh, they're trying to land. Well, we should take action." And they go and they try to attack Santa, and the snowballs, you know, go and attack them and cause them to crash.
Bomb them.
Yeah, and
when they do,
these like evil robot planes crash land into the water around the island. To which there's a bunch of these square people just made out of a bunch of cubes that say, look, they've knocked down all of our robot planes. So that's what those were.
Yeah.
And Santa lands there and they decide to charge because they think they're being invaded.
Yeah.
Well, the Snowdrop says, Santa, here come others of those with pointed icicles. So they're using pointed icicles as swords, I guess.
Yeah.
And Santa says that we're going to use the water pump on the toy engine here, and that should stop them. Somehow it has water in it.
So a toy fire engine has enough water in it to stop these guys.
It fills up just one bucket.
One bucket.
And they give the bucket to... Here's what I don't get, right? So at first... The parrots are sitting on Jimmy and Janie's shoulders, like they're like
so big compared to the size of the children.
They are, but like the kids are going to grab the bucket and the parrots are going to fly them up. But then it's like they realize, no, there's flying snow.
It's flying
children. But here's what I don't get. So the children do not grab the parrots with their hands.
No.
They grab the parrots with their feet.
Yeah. Well,
how? They have shoes on.
It's magic.
Or in between their legs, like I don't know how they're doing it.
Legs, yeah,
which is weird.
Yeah, there's not a one of us that hadn't grabbed a parrot from between our legs.
I'm kind of in that boat, I think.
Oh,
sorry.
So they just dump the water on these
right
blockheads.
On them, and it freezes all blockheads from Gumby.
Yeah, it is kind of blockheads, isn't it?
And it freezes them in place because that's never been a problem before on an ice.
That's what I'm saying.
Island.
I mean, they live on this ice island anyway. So, oh, by the way, my Roomba is stuck. I just got a message saying my Roomba is stuck.
It gives you updates like that.
Yeah, it tells you when it's stuck.
And so the block people are like, man, this water turned us to ice and it froze us to the ground. And Santa's just like, now you can't harm us. I need to speak to your leader. And one of them goes, I am the leader of the squares. And he laughs at that. He's like, so you're squares.
So funny.
And he's like, yeah, and this is Cube Island. Why are you invading us? And he's like, I'm not invading you. I'm Santa. And that this is Christmas Eve. And they're like, we've never heard of you. What's Christmas Eve?
Oh,
all these angry Cube people.
Yeah.
And then it says, Christmas is the time for joy and gift giving. Gift? For me? Imagine that. So immediately after the ice melts and they're free with their gifts, Santa obviously blames that on the warmth from Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Grinch's heart growing sizes.
Three sizes?
Three sizes.
Three sizes.
And so all the Cube people are happy and they're like, oh, I feel friendly towards everyone. We should give something too. Hold on. And they come back not knowing what Christmas is. And they just have this giant thing of candy ice cubes.
Ice cubes with a big bow on it.
And they're like, hey, give it to all these children. We don't know who you are, Santa Claus. We didn't even know that Christmas existed. But we do understand the concept of children and gift giving now after 5 minutes. So please give this to everyone.
Bless Christmas and bless you, Santa.
Again, I realize this is all.
Yeah.
I know what we're dealing with here. I'm not that mad. It's just funny.
And now he's just taking these kids back home.
Yeah.
But they're covered in these giant snowballs.
So
that's not going to be weird.
No, not at all. So their next stop is going to be Jimmy and Janie's house. And they get there. But before we can get there, we have more toys to tell you
ads.
about.
Ready to roll. Big, strong road builders and trucks with moving parts. The little kid says heavy gauge steel will last for years, big enough for outdoor play. You've got a tow truck that actually hoists. Winder up and watcher go wrecker truck. Dump truck's body raises, unloads automatically. Steam shovel.
That steam shovel is actually kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. Yeah. Car revolves on tractor base. I wouldn't mind having one of those. 14-wheel trailer truck, cabbies and
the
logs.
steam shovel or the car that revolved on the
Both,
tractor base?
yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the grade your own roads. Boy, there is not a kid out there that doesn't dream of grading their own roads. And by the way, prices are slightly higher in the South and the West. The next one is dollies. More of these stupid dollies. It says, look at those bright eyes. Look at those dimples. And okay. So when you're looking at this ad, one of these babies stands out to me.
Okay.
Can you tell me which one?
On the whole ad?
Yeah. Just look at them holistically here and tell me which one you think.
Either the very bottom right one.
Which one looks like a wrestler?
Oh, see, I thought about that too. I thought you were talking about the one that was like half and half, like the dean from Community. There,
This one, he looks like
mini Arn Anderson.
Yeah. He just got his singlet on. And
he's not as stylish as Ric Flair, but he's coming. He's the enforcer. So that's they all do. Honestly,
he's got a lot of muscles for a baby.
If you look at them though, like the other two are wearing kind of like old bathing suits, but they could kind of be like a weird tag team too. Like that's a
The next one gives us cuddly crybabies with real clothes, and that stupid parrot says you can dress and undress these dolls yourself. Okay, keep it in your pants there, parrot. Price is slightly higher in the West. Then the next one is toys that make sounds when you move them, and one of the floating snowheads says how the very young kiddies will love these musical toys. There's a musical carpet sweeper. It looks like Mom's.
They do like to push that a lot too. We noticed that last year. Like, hey, do stuff at home.
There's a happy helicopter that goes whir.
Just whir.
Then there's a pole bee.
Oh, okay. So I've seen a bee like that. Yeah.
That goes buzz.
Buzz.
Then there's a push chime tinkles.
Oh man.
No joke needed there. Train chugs, bell rings.
They're just telling you. Like that's the thing is there's not toy names. They're just telling you what it does.
Then there's a dog that plays a xylophone.
That's the Mary. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's a Mary Mutt who hammers musical keys.
They're very on the nose.
Yeah. And then down at the bottom, you've got Mickey Mouse metal toys. Fill your day with fun. One of the reindeer is telling us Mickey and his friends play right along with you. No, they don't.
And we noticed also last week with the Mickey Mouse stuff, like none of it really looks a lot like Mickey either.
No, it looks like Marty Mouse. Mickey leads parade on drum.
Yeah.
See Mickey pour for Mickey on. See Minnie pour. I was going to say for Mickey on T set. And then watch Mickey's band play. Hear him as top spins.
Ooh.
By the way, price is slightly higher in the South and the West.
I like that. All right. So we go back to wrap up our story with just one page, and then we get more ads to close it out. Essentially, Santa gets to Janie and Jimmy's house, and they're up on the roof. And they tell Snowdrop bye, and Santa's like, all right, we'll go down the chimney here to go ahead and, deliver your toys. And when they go down, the snow, just melts all right off of them. Yeah. And here's the thing is the parrot decides to go down the chimney too. I don't understand
why.
They
fall down the chimney and land right on their coccyx.
And they tell Santa, hey, all of our snow melted off. And Santa's like, yes, and here are your presents. And it's a gun and like a brush set. And Jimmy just shakes Santa's hand, which is funny to me.
Thank you, Santa, for a lovely transaction.
I think of kids, and you think of like running up and hugging and excited to see Santa, but Jimmy's just very much matter of fact. It's like, you gave me your gun. I helped you save Christmas. Like, you're welcome, Santa. Until next time. But their parents come back in, and it's Janie, Jimmy, how did you guys get your gifts so quickly? And they both go, Mommy and Daddy, meet Santa Claus. Oh, and he's like, not there.
Oh, he's gone.
Because they're like, I don't see anyone. And they run to look out the mirror, and he's flying away. And it's a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
How sweet.
Then
he's followed by those snowballs.
He is. Then we get a Connect the Dots, which I can tell you, It's a big one because it goes all the way up to 78, but it's Snowdrop. I can just tell you by looking
Says
at
the
it.
day after Christmas, the children are thinking about somebody. Can you guess?
So tomorrow, you all should be thinking about
Gross
Snowdrop.
the way I said that.
Think about Snowdrop today and tomorrow.
Follow the numbers and draw a line from dot to dot. And then you get
And then we close it out with more ads.
little
here.
golden records. We've gone over those famous Daisy toy guns. The one I really like at the bottom though is the pop 'em shooting game with crows that spin.
I just saw. What is it shooting? Hold on. Does it? Oh, crows. Hold on. Crows spin on a wire set in a metal base. When you hit them, your gun is 14 inches long and has break in quotes action.
Five
Five corks. Okay.
Corks. So you're shooting corks at little metal crows.
And it's just so. Do they move back and forth? Or is it just like vibrate?
I think
And
they
then
just
it's like-
vibrate. I think they give you a complex. You know, the thing you can say about this, though, the prices aren't higher anywhere else.
Well, no, it's guns. We want them cheap everywhere.
Yeah, the guns need to be cheap. And then, oh boy, we've got a couple more. So then next we've got Yippee, Wild West guns and holsters. Parrot in a cowboy hat says they look like real guns and shoot caps with a bang.
Bang.
Gene Autry guns, puff and smoke.
There's a lot of Gene
Gene
Autry
Autry
guns.
something.
Hold on. 4 out of the 6 are Gene Autry
Yeah,
guns.
Gene Autry was huge at this time. And then wow, at the bottom you get Wow Super Double Holster Set. These are exactly what you think they are. They're just
Yeah.
metal guns. The next one is racers and trains and tools, just like Dad's.
So
Dad
they
has a lot of trains.
they wanted to make sure, like, hey, we got to push other stuff on the kids. These prices are also slightly higher in the South and the West, but
Great.
there is a carpentry set. It says, want to play carpenter? There's also a 22 farm animal set. That's just, it looks like the plastic ones, kind of like the
Colts, calves, pigs, piglets, sheep, hens, roosters, ducks, turkeys in fine detail in box with cellophane window. I like how the cellophane window is a selling point. You can look right through the box.
The next one seems kind of cool.
Slightly
though.
higher in South. and
Yeah,
West.
the blocks and stuff. Like we
Okay.
didn't have blocks last time, and some of these seem like
Yeah.
things that I had or at least knew of.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe you can go on a little bit more. The
And
two-
this is before Legos.
yeah, that's what I wanted to ask about. There's 2 things that I wanted. There's American logs, which I wonder if those are kind of like Lincoln logs in a
They
way.
are, Yeah.
So I played with Lincoln logs some. I don't know if anybody else. I feel
think
like they were
had some
before.
American logs.
I feel like I don't know. I was right on the tail end of that
Yeah.
log. Everyone wants a log.
What rolls downstairs, alone or in pairs, rolls over your neighbor's
dog.
It's on your back and great for a snack. It's log.
Log. I've told the story, but I have not
I
said it in at least a year or so.
Yeah.
That my grandmother hated that show.
Yeah.
And her thing was always because that she caught them whizzing on an electric fence.
Don't whiz on the electric fence.
Oh man. But I
No,
wonder,
you've got
are
bricks
those
and logs
plastic bricks like Legos?
plastic
Then
bricks? Well, I think they're just bricks. I don't think they interlock.
so you would just like stack the little plastic pieces.
Yeah, they're washable, sturdy plastic, movable doors and windows, actually open, transparent. Transparent what?
Where's that at?
Jalousies? And pictures windows. I don't know what a jalousie is. Green roof, instruction book included, American plastic brick. Yeah, these don't interlock.
Yeah, that is jealousy. I'm gonna look.
Jalousies.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
look
what a
that up.
jealousy is.
Then.
The next one is build your own Christmas town with Plasticville toys. They've got all the little stores and stuff. There's a 5 and 10 cent store. There's a hospital. There's a church. There are 16 people with everything for painting them.
Oh, okay.
A supermarket, a barn, a firehouse, 18 pigs, horses, cows, and sheep, a Cape Cod house, and then a railroad station and an airport hangar.
You want to learn? You like learning new words?
Yeah, I do.
then? So you
Absolutely.
want to know what a jalousie is?
What is a job?
It is a blind or shutter made of a row of angled slats.
Oh, well, kids all know that.
Yeah.
I mean, what kid doesn't know what a jalousie is? Exciting stories, beautiful pictures, and little golden books. That's the next one. You've got Janie here saying Mickey Mouse, Donald, and Pluto, Howdy Doody, Christmas and Bible stories. All in the same thing.
Those things.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, like the little slatted windows. that-
Yes.
That move back and forth. Okay.
Yes, those are what jalousies are.
And then one of the last ones says that it has Jimmy and Janie's little cousins, 2 of the little Hitler Youth here, saying that you can do all your Christmas shopping with just a small deposit on Woolworth's layaway plan. Ask any Woolworth store for details.
There we go.
1953 was some kind of year.
Yeah, it was.
Let me tell you, it was great for jalousies and talking snowballs. pretzels.
Yeah, and
Big
if you wanted
Christmas.
lemon and chocolate snow.
Yum.
So there you go. Merry Christmas.
By the
That
way,
was Woolworth's
kids,
1953.
don't eat yellow snow.
And don't, if a snowman asks you, invites you to his house, don't go.
It's just water.
Yeah, that's
You're
just
not filling up on
It's
that.
Kool-Aid, if anything. Would
It's-
you drink chocolate Kool-Aid? No, that sounds
No,
disgusting.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. Like Yoo-hoo.
Oh, yeah, I like you.
I know a lot of people
Watery,
do. I know
watery
I'm
chocolate milk.
I know I'm in the minority.
Chocolate
there.
Soldier too, same thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like the knockoff version of a
Yeah,
Yoo-hoo.
no, I've had that before too. I'm just not big on it.
So Christmas,
Yeah.
it is today.
It's happening. We're not.
Happy Christmas to all of you, and
Yeah.
happy holidays to the rest of
We're
you.
not actually here on Christmas. If
No,
you're worried about
but
that.
we're in your ears, in your head, and
Yeah.
you can't get us out.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Follow the light. What do you think you got for Christmas? Let's go ahead and predict what we're getting.
I think. Like, do we want
Are
real
you gonna get a
predictions or
grift?
fake predictions?
I mean, a gift, a grift.
I'm gonna get a grifter. I feel like somebody's gonna gift me somebody that's gonna teach
Have
me
you
how to be able to
asked for
grift.
something?
That's the okay. So
I don't ever ask
that's-
for anything.
I'm at the point in my life where I feel like, and I think that we all kind of get to that point. Maybe it's where like if there's something that I really want, I get it.
That's what we say every
And
year.
and it's the things like if I haven't got it, it's because it's really expensive, and
Yeah.
I don't want to ask other people to get me
Yeah.
something that's
Sure.
you know. So it's just like yeah. So usually what I'll do is I come up with like this year I came up with a list of the books that I just haven't bought
Oh, yeah.
myself yet
That's
that I
good.
know I'll read
Yeah.
or clothes, stuff like that. Like there's things, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about
Yeah.
it.
I asked for a new hip.
Can Santa bring that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's qualified.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't ever ask for anything, honestly. Again, my wife and I are like to a point where if there's something we need, we go get it. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's just, I'm not holding out buying you some socks until Christmas. You know, I mean, that's just silly.
I get it. There's some, but that's the thing. So I don't know. I'm sure I got something. I'm sure I liked it. I mean, I'm not too hard to please. So
I'm going to predict that on Christmas morning,
yeah.
I'm going to open nothing. How about that?
Are you going to at any point in time during
No,
Christmas
I don't
Day?
think I'll get anything.
At all?
Yeah, I don't think so.
From anybody?
Nah.
Well, now I want to.
Why do I need anything? I just don't. I tell people not to give me things because I don't want it. My wife brought home a couple of things from work yesterday. She was like, well, not yesterday, but yesterday to the day that we're talking about now. She brought on a couple of things. She goes, I really appreciate it, but I hate when people give me stuff because then I feel like I got to get them something. And that's very true. That's why the Christmas thing I don't like as much as the Thanksgiving stuff.
I see, and I get that because, and I wish that I could let people know, but it's hard for
It's
us
the
to do
Christmas
that.
train coming through town.
It is the Christmas train. I'll just let it. I'm not worried. It's
Oh,
not
you're
messing
good.
up
I'm
too
not
much.
worried about
The thing is, like, I've always liked giving gifts.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoy doing it.
Better than getting them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And but I understand, like, I don't want to make somebody feel like they need, because I'd give it without expecting something, but
Sure.
I get as us being human, it
Yeah.
just feels like we need to do something in return.
Yeah, well,
So sometimes I just feel like, as much as I want to, maybe I don't get them something because I just don't want them to feel like they have to back too. But
yeah. No, I don't need anything. I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
You know, but thanks anyway, Santa
yeah, well, I hope everybody else had a great Christmas.
or Krampus.
Whoever you want to
Love
use.
that Krampus.
Yeah,
It's
he's
my
kind of mean
favorite.
to
It's
kids.
my favorite. I want to
He's
see him
kinda mean
beat
to
some
kids.
kids with some sticks and put them in a sack.
I think that's the perfect note for us to end on.
There's never been like an animated Krampus tale.
Are you sure?
I don't think so.
I
would
in
love
Germany,
to see
there's
one.
not a
maybe. I think it's probably those creepy puppets for a
Yes.
shadow
yeah
tail kind of.
But well, it would kind of fit for Krampus.
That's creepy though.
Oh, you don't want it?
Those are always creepy.
They are, but I thought that's what you would want with Krampus. Is creepy.
No.
You
I
want
want a
fun
nice
and
little cuddly Krampus.
adorable?
Yeah.
Adorable Krampus.
Why can't I buy a stuffed Krampus?
Disney's Krampus?
Disney's from the makers of Frozen 3 comes Krampus. Hardly knew him.
And then as it comes out, we'll tie it all together as it's like Krampus coming to theaters this holiday. Hey y'all, prepare yourself for the rubber band. As it
Krampus
plays
man.
out. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, so I can't believe I sang. Anyway,
That's great.
yeah.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, buddy.
to all the people you know. Happy holidays to everybody. I don't care what you celebrate this time of year. Just take a day off, and be with family and stuff. That's all that really counts.
That's perfect. I can't say it any better than that. So
That and alcohol.
well, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever you got to do to make it through. Well, no, not whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Stop it, murder.
peace on earth and goodwill to all and all that. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, happy Christmas. And by the way, you guys that are fighting, stop it.
Yeah, let's hug it out.
There we go. Done.
Appreciate it as always, you guys taking the time out to listen. Next week, we have a year in review. Looking forward to that. As always, make sure to check out Rogue Media Network and the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
And as always, stay safe, everybody.
Hey, Golly Khan, and Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about
Comic books, costumes,
facts,
boots, and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, issue 2.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the magnificent Mr. Mike.
I
Wow.
think that's landed on a little thick, but sure, thank you.
Hold on, now? Like,
Yeah.
we've done
Yeah.
how many
It's-
of these, and this is the
it's
first time
early.
you're going to tell me it's...
You
well,
know,
yeah.
it's early.
This is really early for us.
It is really early. It is 9:20 in the a.m.
Not like it's early for us to do things during the day, but it's just early for us to record.
to record, yeah.
And I feel like, I know at least for me, and I feel like maybe more so for Mike, is I open up more as the day goes on. So I'm very more just kind of like quiet and just to myself in the morning.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe that helps us stay on topic.
Do you watch the news or TV or anything in the morning?
No.
Yeah. I get up and I turn on the news and I watch about 10 minutes of it.
So
And that's only because I'm dazed and I need coffee. So,
see, when I get ready, I'll listen to stuff on my phone. Like I'll listen to podcasts or
Really?
audiobooks or stuff like I have things going like while
Yeah.
but a lot of times, and I mean, I find the news to be depressing.
Sure.
And I'm already depressed about a lot of stuff in life. So
Well,
like
I keep it-
I'll catch up on it later, but I don't want to see it first thing in the day before I leave out kind of thing.
I turn it on CBS and that way nothing's depressing on there.
Really?
They just do happy news. Yeah. Yeah.
I used to.
Vladimir Putin has a cold. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I know it's cheesy. There used to be an app that I follow, or like on Twitter. I don't remember what it was, but it was where essentially that's all they did was report good news, or even if it was bad news, like they would report it in a way of where it was just like,
exactly.
yeah, it's like, hey, this sucks, but you probably need to know this kind of thing. And it was like, oh, okay, the less sensationalized it is, and at times, sometimes it, I think you're able to process it better. But anyway.
So, do you remember the Naked News?
It was, I don't remember what country had it, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was just people getting undressed as they're telling you the news.
Is that what you?
That's what it was. That's what I
watch.
watch every morning. Yeah,
Really?
just naked people telling me the news. But
But
they're
we
behind a
don't have it
desk, so it
here.
doesn't matter.
Wait, that makes it professional?
It's a
or-
very tall desk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just up to their neck. No, they look like a Wilson from
That's right.
Home
yeah.
Improvement. All you can see is their
Hey
eyes.
there,
but-
neighbor.
but they
Vladimir
just-
Putin's got a cold.
But they just throw clothes over
that's
the fence.
it. You got it. It's like any movie from the 50s where a woman's getting undressed behind one of
just
those
they
screens and
toss it
throws
over,
those
yeah.
things over. Yeah.
So last week we dove into
Last week on Bros,
Foes and Heroes. We dove into a little bit of holiday cheer.
Yeah.
With a Woolworth Christmas ad / comic.
Lots of rubber toys.
There were a lot of rubber toys. We are going to have, I found 2 of those. So we're going to cover we did the one from 1952. We'll do the one from 1953 for next week for our Christmas episode, because it makes sense for us to talk about Christmas stuff on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So we have another Santa adventure thanks to Woolworths coming up.
Woolworths.
Which, by the way, I noticed that we have a place that's called Woolworths Sweet.
Yeah.
I don't think that's related, though, is it?
It is. It's where the Woolworths
Is that where it was, honestly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So look at that. I learned something from this book. I saw it when I passed it the other day.
Yeah, we used to have a Woolworths here back in the 1901s.
At least the 50s, because that's when those books
yeah,
came
something
up.
like that, probably. Yeah.
But what we're doing today is a bit of a departure from that, because we're going to go from that, awesome, cheery holiday goodness and go back to something a little bit more darker and demented, which
I like it.
Yeah, I love too. The second issue of Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees, came out. And we covered the first one a couple months back after it came out. But this comic, written and illustrated by Patrick Horvath.
Thanks, Pat.
It's been really fun, really interesting. And just kind of, I like to think, I'm not taking this as my own description from it. I saw it somewhere and I think it fits, but it's the busy world of Richard Scarry meets Dexter in a sense.
Yeah.
So just a recap of issue one. But that's what it is.
I know. I want to see that worm crawl out of that apple and kill somebody.
That's the next movie once it goes into the public domain.
Starring Jonathan Major.
Is he? Yeah. Okay. So just a recap of last time we dove into this show.
I think he might be in trouble.
I didn't know if he was still alive.
Jonathan Majors?
Yeah. Jonathan Majors. I'm thinking of
Lee Majors.
Yes.
Is who you're thinking of. Yeah. Fall Guy.
Goodness. Yeah. No, I was thinking of Lee Majors.
Not Lee Majors.
Jonathan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Jonathan Majors.
That makes a lot more
Richard Scarry worm.
Why? Like the voice?
I don't know. No, these are real people in costumes.
We're not having another Cats debacle. Let's not do that.
All about the practical effects. Get in that worm suit, Majors.
So our main character in Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is a bear named Samantha, or Sam for short.
Sure.
And we find out that Sam lives in this very peaceful town called Woodbury. It'll come up again. I'll correct myself there when it comes up. And that it's this very peaceful town that you would think of just, everybody's been there forever. It's like
where everybody knows your name.
Yeah, what's Andy Griffith?
Mayberry.
There you go. That's what it is. It's like just the wholesome Americana town you can think of, full of anthropomorphic animals. Because that's the thing about this. Why I said the busy world of Richard Scarry. If you haven't looked at it, when you look it up, you'll notice that it's all anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah. If you want to see something that kind of matches that whole Mayberry thing you brought up, and it's a little off, SCTV a long time ago did like a Mayberry thing, but it's serious. Like it was like a drama, but it was set in the Mayberry town.
That is
it's very good. It's very good.
I'll have to go back and look that up then. But we do find out that everything's not like it seems.
Floyd's a freak. I'm just telling you. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But
yeah, sorry, it's only 30 years ago. Sorry.
But we find out that everything's not as it seems in this perfect little town, as our main character has a dark secret. She likes to kind of drive, to the city, which is 2-3 hours away, and find and kill victims. She's a serial killer.
She lives in that little Gilmore Girls town.
Yeah, that's right? Starry Hollow.
Yeah,
Mayberry. That's why
Sure.
Starry Hollow works.
But then she drives to what?
Like
town?
The big city. It doesn't. It doesn't
just say big city.
It just calls it the city.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, it's just kind of like a I guess
Porksville.
Yeah, like upstate New York, and then you drive into New York City itself.
Yeah.
And she does it because, she always picks random people, does it not to be caught. She has this whole very gruesome process, but it helps her find her sinner. Is what we find out. But we find out that she is a deranged killer who also, when she's not killing people, owns a hardware store in this quaint little town, and she loves keeping things there as peaceful as possible.
Perfect cover.
The town is turning 200, I think. They have a giant parade for it. When it is discovered through an accident, remember the mast of the ship kind of snaps off of the mayor's float, who is a turtle. Birdie is his name. And it reveals that an old goat who we met earlier had been murdered and kind of just strewn up there.
Yeah.
And now the whole city has seen this.
Yeah.
So the whole city knows that, or town, I guess, since it's small it is, that there is a killer on the loose kind of amongst them.
Sure. Because that doesn't just happen.
No.
You don't just, whoops, I got crucified.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it kind of sends everybody there into a panic, and it creates a sense of panic in our main character, in Sam, because she's afraid now that because somebody else was kind of stupid enough or just sloppy enough to do this, she's going to get caught.
Sure.
And also, they're messing with her little like control. Like,
Well,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
So that recaps what we have going on in issue 1 before we get here into issue 2. And I will say I love the cover. Like, these covers have been great. It's a pig walking by a butcher shop, and we'll get into, the woman is one of the main characters in this issue. And she's staring, the pig is staring into the butcher shop, and it like has like a
The
pig's
woman
head.
is the pig.
The woman is the pig,
That's not a political statement.
No, it's anthropomorphically drawn here, latte in hand. And she sees like other pig heads, and so it's like her steering in with like this weird sense of uneasiness.
Yeah,
it's just a really cool.
Yeah, it's
like,
very
all of
cool.
these
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
So
I don't know why they would have that in that town.
I don't. Well, we also talked about how some animals aren't.
Yeah.
That's it happens again here, like
Pluto.
blatantly. So I don't know if it's a thing or if it's just like it's a world where some animals are and some aren't kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just like I wonder if it was kind of drawn as animals to get by certain things, obviously, as a comic, and it fits, and so you can still have. But either way, it's an enjoyable story. We'll go ahead and get into issue 2 of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and it opens. I love this too. How the inside covers like the newspaper to cover the event of, you know, local found slain and grisly murder scene.
But it's also got your credits.
Exactly. It's got your
that's
credits
cool.
and your IDW thing at the bottom. So really cool. We open up to see that
IDW. What is that?
That's the publisher.
Oh.
So like
All right.
DC, Marvel,
Yeah.
IDW is the publisher on this.
I wonder what does that stand for?
I honestly don't know right offhand. I just always know them as IDW.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it.
My comic book knowledge is lacking there. We show, and for me, a lot of this was kind of very, I don't know, it seemed relatable in kind of being around in a small town for stuff, but I feel like a lot of it's kind of even relatable here as we live in a city that's not necessarily like massive, but we still have some kind of like small town qualities about it. They're having a meeting in the church after this. Like everybody's huddled together. So it's like, hey,
safe space.
Yeah, everybody in the community, let's get together. And it's like, you know, she's the mayor, or I guess not the mayor, but whoever. Oh yeah, it is the mayor. Sorry, is testing the mic, and she's and she hands it to the Bloodhound, who is the chief of police, which would make sense. But I just love there's a moment where she hands it to him after she tests it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not really too good with these things. Can everybody hear me if I talk loud?" Kind of like there's a moment in the comic where it's just kind of
it's very humanized.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, yeah.
And so it relates to him, and essentially he just tells them like, "Hey, you know, everybody by now you all know what happened. Everybody saw, you know, the body or know that we found our librarian Martin dead.
Yeah.
This is the first time anything like this has happened in like 40 years, like, you know, but
40 years.
It's just a reminder of like, you know,
sure,
things are still scary here. Even as perfect as they are everywhere else, it
Yeah.
can happen to us anywhere." He says, "You know, we're all in a state of shock, but just to help us all, we're going to start a curfew. Like, you know, everybody out, it's starting tonight, 9 p.m. Everybody stay inside." And he's like, "We've got a killer at large, so everybody kind of be like," he's doing his best to just kind of prep them for everything that's coming. To then we hear, I also want to stress, he's talking to them, that I also want to stress that there's a chance that the killer could be one of us too, because he's telling them it could be somebody coming in.
Sure.
Could also be somebody local. And he goes, but, and why he says that, the pig that we met at the beginning of our cover, we found out her name is Cherry Gherkins.
Cherry Gherkins. Sure.
People do not like Cherry in town because she
Okay.
stands up and says
Well, number one, her
immediately,
name's Gherkins.
well,
So,
that's her
yeah.
last name. I don't know.
Yeah.
She just stands up and she goes, "I want to know why you haven't already arrested Birdie, the turtle.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was on his float.
Yeah.
Why hasn't it already been arrested?
Yeah.
You're not doing your job. Like this is all BS." Like she just points at him.
Sure.
And he's like, "Hey, I understand that you're upset. Let's just calm down. Let's not lose ourselves."
Yeah.
And he goes, "We have suspects. We're going through. We're checking them." She essentially tells him, "I'm not scared. I'm angry. Like somebody has to stand up to these people.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything.
come on, Howard. She grabs her husband, who's an owl.
Howard the Owl.
Who I love his face where he's like, oh man, because she's
also-
making a scene kind of.
He's also got a gigantic head.
He does.
Yeah.
But she's making a scene, and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
as he's pulling it, she's like, this was just a waste of our time as she leaves. And I love the mayor and the chief of police. They're just sitting there like, oh, Cherry freaking Gherkins, man. Like they already know that she's just.
She just makes a stink everywhere she goes. Yeah.
So
She's a Karen.
she is. And I think that she's referenced to as that later on too. But she's making a stink and kind of creating unease throughout the town.
Wait, what's her Cherry?
Cherry.
Okay.
Cherry Gherkins.
All right.
We finally see Sam as her friends. You remember the elderly mouse woman and
Yeah.
her son? That's her like
Yeah.
best friend.
Yeah.
They ask if they want somebody to walk home with her, and she's like, "No, I'm good." But it's time for her to think more, and she's trying to figure out where can I find, or what are the steps for me to go about to find who this person is. She realizes to herself, I need to go talk to Birdie. The turtle whose float, our dead goat was found
Did you
on.
say Birdie was the mayor?
Birdie, I thought Birdie was the mayor at the beginning.
Okay.
He might not have been. Birdie
Okay.
is the turtle, though, whose
Yeah.
float.
Yeah, it was their float.
So, see, this is what I'm talking about with the anthropomorphic.
There's a dog there.
There's
And
a dog that's a
bird.
dog and a bird that's a bird,
Yeah.
but Birdie and Sam are still.
And the dog only says arf arf. He can't speak.
We see, though, that Birdie has a nice little shiner on his eye. Like somebody's gotten to him. Sam shows up to ask him questions, but in doing so, spooks him, and he does the whole like head in the shell to get away from her because he's spooked there, which I thought was kind of funny. She is nice to him and kind of, gives him a sucker. But she's just the thing here that I get from it is like everybody's obviously been after Birdie and accusing him of something that he hasn't done. But he's so afraid because he has to give himself a pep talk to go out to throw away the trash, is what we're seeing. Like he's very kind of, does not want to go out of his house. So Sam talks
really
to him.
blame him.
Yeah, Sam talks to him and is able to kind of soothe him out. And she's like, "Hey, I know you talked to the cops, but sometimes when I'm doing the dishes, like ideas come to me that I didn't even think about."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, well, now that you mention it," and he thinks back to when they were working on the float the night before.
Right.
And we're introduced to Melody Davis, who is a cat.
She's a Siamese cat.
Who was helping him with the float. And she comes in carrying a giant thing of lavender, and she sneezes as she does. And Birdie tells the cat, Melody, like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's like, "I didn't realize I'd be so allergic to this.
Yeah.
Like, it's really getting to me." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. I'll go ahead and finish it up. You go home."
Okay.
And then he said that she left, and he's sitting there working, and he hears a sneeze again. And he goes, "Bless you, Melody." And then there's nothing. And he's like, "Melody?" So he realizes, he's like, "I thought she had already left.
Yeah.
Maybe she had hung around." And that's what Sam says is maybe she was still just hanging around to wait for you to leave. Or maybe there was somebody else there also allergic to lavender.
Right.
So she has at least, it's a small clue, but she has a clue that something else has happened. She decides to go back into town. And as she is going into town to go to her hardware store that she owns, she runs into the Bloodhound cop.
Okay.
Who just asks her, like, "Hey, quick question. I heard that, you went up to the city the other day." Oh, they do give it a name. He's like, "Just backtracking Martin's last couple days, said that he came in asking about something. You met with him and then you went up to the city." She's like, "Yeah, I went to Centerville. I do it every month or so. A couple shops. I kind of like to go there, this and that."
Sure.
And she goes, "But I thought Martin could have told you that," which is her assistant there.
Yeah.
And the Bloodhound gang. The Bloodhound goes, "Oh no, they could have just clarifying some things."
Yeah.
And we see a look. I love that because when he's like, "Well, I appreciate the help. I'll be back," and she's just anytime sheriff, but you can see the look on her face that she's very annoyed.
A lot of bear side eye.
Yeah. We find out that a lot of people are coming into the hardware store buying locks, buying bars, like just anything they can do to secure their home where they are. It has created a panic throughout the entire town.
What would happen?
Exactly.
In a small town, yeah.
And so it's created a panic everywhere. And then we get a run-in with Cherry Gherkins yet again. As she straight up parks in the middle of the street to run in to grab her latte.
Yeah. I know that woman.
Yep. And like there's a part where like there's somebody parked behind her and he's like, you can't do that. You can't just leave your car. And she's like, yes, I can, idiot. Like she's just yelling at him. Like she's just, nobody likes her. Sam sees her over there, walking into the coffee shop, and she asks her mole assistant or, coworker Martin, you need any coffee? He's like, no, I still got the pot going. She goes, what about a hot chocolate? He's like, oh yeah, that sounds great.
Moles love hot chocolate.
They do. She
should see them dance when you pour hot chocolate right down their hole. Something.
Wow. Okay.
It's a mole hole.
A mole. I see what you're saying now. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The mole hole.
Yes.
I'm reminded of, there's an old joke that is silly, but my dad told it as a kid and I still remember it. There's a family of moles. Mom, I know this is what you wanted to hear, a joke in the middle of this.
I do.
A mom, a dad, and a baby mole.
Okay.
They live right outside this, nice country farm. And one morning, early in the morning, the farmer and his wife wake up early and they start making breakfast.
Okay.
And just the, the smell just
smells great
from the kitchen just wafts out and comes to the outside. And, the father wakes up first. He smells something in the air, climbs out, sticks his head out of the hole. He's like, oh, pancakes. Oh, man, I love pancakes.
Yeah, pancakes.
Then the mom, she smells like, she goes, oh, and warm syrup and bacon, like both of them. And the baby tries to come up and can't get through. I fucked it up. Anyway, the baby tries to come up and can't get through and can't get past the two of them. And he goes, well, I don't know about you guys, but all I can smell is molasses. I realized I said
that's good. I
syrup.
like that.
I realized I said syrup, trying to think of something else though.
That's
but
okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
So there you go.
I like that. All I can smell are molasses.
So Sam is going to go across the street to.
When did he tell you this? Like how old were you?
I'm pretty sure I overheard it.
Oh,
like
okay.
it wasn't like he told me directly.
All right.
Probably like 6. I don't know. My
Kids,
dad was
gather
there.
around.
Let me tell you dirty jokes.
Let me tell you the story of the moles.
Well,
he liked those jokes.
He liked dirty mole jokes.
Dirty mole jokes mostly. Yeah, sure.
Oh man, so
you stop telling those camel jokes. Only mole jokes in this house.
So Sam is going to go over, and it seems like she wants to confront Cherry Gherkins.
Yeah.
And I think that this is as good a place as any for us to go ahead and take a break real quick. And when we get back, things are about to amp up for the rest of the issue here on Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. So we will be right back after this.
If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you'd better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was, every teddy bear who's been good is sure of a treat today. There's lots of marvelous things to eat and wonderful games to play. Beneath the trees where nobody sees, they'll hide and seek as long as they please. That's the way the teddy bears have their picnic.
All right, and so now we are back. Oh, sorry, I didn't do what Mike likes to do. Welcome back in.
Welcome back.
As
into the show.
I always tell Mike, and he's gonna get tired of the joke eventually, that it's the welcome in gang every time I start there, because I don't know how else to start the show aside from welcome in.
It's perfect. It's great. I just made an observation one time.
You know, we've talked about other things and other shows in the future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best at whatever I do next to not say welcome in. Yeah,
okay.
That's my goal.
There's nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're being pleasant to people. It's fine.
So
you can say, "Get the hell out of here. We're back."
That's true. All right. So back to Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, issue 2. And Sam is walking into the coffee shop where we get to see Cherry Gherkins yelling at the barista.
Oh.
Why would we have to go through, or why do we have to go through this every time? Just give me my latte and I can go. I don't have time to wait. I'm double parked.
Oh.
Because she did it.
Yeah.
Like, she's the reason she's double parked.
Sure.
And like everybody else in line is like, come on, like they're all waiting. Like she's holding up everybody in line. And she's like, I'm telling you guys that, if you would just let me order from home, this wouldn't be a problem. Like she's blaming them for why she's holding up and all. Some of it might be fine.
She got a point.
But the barista, you can tell just by the
But
font.
not to park in the street.
Yeah, just by the font and the way
Yeah,
that they draw it,
yeah.
she's like, of course, ma'am. Yeah, like she's
every damn day
every
with this
day she
woman.
gets berated by
Yeah.
Cherry.
Yeah.
And she's just like, yes, ma'am. Of course, ma'am. And Cherry just keeps yelling and yelling. And she's just like, I don't have to put up with this. I can take my business somewhere else. Like, just still yelling at the barista. Of course, ma'am, as she's working on it. And
I love
then,
the pearls around her neck. They're just so tight.
yeah. And then she's like, and don't bother with that stupid flower on top. It's a waste of time and it never looks good. Like, she's just yelling at them.
Dang.
I do give it to Sam, though, who goes into that. She talks about, man, I just saw Birdie and the black eye he had. Must have, somebody must have hit him pretty hard there in the head. And then, she's like, poor little guy. It must have been some hothead, too. Like, she's right behind Cherry, like just poking at her.
Cherry's a very sweaty.
The more angry
pig lady.
the angrier she gets, the sweatier
Sweatier
she gets.
Yeah, of course.
And she's just like, it must have been some hothead who jumped to conclusions, or to think that he could have done anything about that. And she just goes, whatever the hell he told you is a lie. And like she turns around and like she's about to snap because she's like, oh, that's a really short temper there, Cherry. Were you the one, who killed Martin that night? And that's when we get a, listen, you furry bitch. Like, she's just angry. And she just goes off and yelling, say another word, and I'll sue you to hear it, yada, yada. She gets
she says the big
yeah,
bad
she
word.
goes, so F off. And Cherry shoves Sam, like pushing her down, basically telling her, we don't have to be bullied by you guys anymore.
Yeah.
Like, as a pig, you would think, obviously, not necessarily a predator.
No.
More often the victim. So it's her, in a sense, I at least understand, obviously don't get the way she's doing it.
Yeah.
But the reasoning is at least a little understandable in a sense.
Well, there's some history. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess to say that. And so she goes and she pushes down and she goes, or the barista tells her that her latte's ready and she grabs it. And then she's like, ma'am, you have to pay for that. And she's like, no, I don't have time for this BS. And she just kind of leaves.
Wow.
So Cherry has pushed Sam down and surprised the hell out of Sam too.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Cherry at home with her husband, Howard the Owl. And they're watching the news. And it's one of those very, sensationalized reports of like, tragedy struck the quaint town of Woodbrook today. That's not Woodbury, Woodbrook.
Yeah. It's a lemur telling you that.
Oh, you're right. It is a lemur. And so Cherry passes her husband and she's just like, every time something like this, comes up, the vultures or, the way you looked around.
It stopped.
It did.
The hum is gone.
We talked about that before. Nobody knows. We talked
that's
about
true. We didn't think
it was just
a hum.
between us.
Yeah, sorry. Now people just think I'm nuts.
Yeah. Oh well.
The hum is gone.
I'll leave it in when we edit, so
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
please do.
It'll just confuse them.
I like
even
her
more.
shirt. Think pig.
Yeah. But she's just on them like every time something big comes up, like they just come here like vultures to like sensationalize and take advantage of us to
She's
scare us
not wrong
locals.
with that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And she's putting on her shirt. She goes, and they want you to think anybody could be a victim instead of holding people responsible for their own actions. And he's like, curfew or not? Like because she's getting ready to go like run.
Yeah.
And her husband's like, curfew or not? Like there's still a murderer out there. You need to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
And she's like, oh, you're such a pushover. But like, not like me.
Yeah.
But she's like, they'll walk all over you if you let them. That's why I married you. And she walks over and like kisses him, kind of just like, you get to see like Sherry, or I keep calling her Sherry, but Cherry is obviously mean and just a lot.
How do they copulate?
It's not brought up.
Oh, okay.
It's
an owl and a pig.
But we do see a nice little relationship. Like we do see that there's at least a little bit of humanity in
I got you. Sure.
between the two of them. And he seems that.
Well, he's wise.
Well, exactly.
He's an owl.
But even through all of it, like he seems to obviously really care for her.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So she tells him, you'd be lost if you didn't have me watching out for you. I love you, sweetie. Just kind of like a cute little moment.
Sure.
And then she leaves to go running. And then she says, if some idiot decides to mess with Cherry effing Gherkins, it'll be the last mistake they make. As she starts. So she's just like, she stood up for herself. She's feeling good.
Yeah.
I can do this.
She's empowered.
So she's on her walk and she passes by the school and she hears something and it's back.
The hump's back. Yeah. Hopefully you guys can't hear the hump.
And she hears something and it's that spoot kind of hello?
Spoot?
Spooked.
Oh, sorry.
Hello? Like, yeah, she looks down the alleyway
yeah.
and she doesn't see anything. But there's
starts getting a little
leaves
sweaty.
blowing by. Yeah.
Leaves coming by.
So she picks up her pace a bit and
Yeah.
she walks around. Like the car kind of drives by and it
Yeah.
freaks her out a bit. She's, she's a little nervous. And she
Sure.
runs into
She should
somebody
be.
and she goes, oh, like she's surprised. And she goes, didn't expect to find anyone else out here tonight. Well, I'm glad to see that, there's somebody else out here who at least has and that person pulls out a knife. As she says, balls, which is funny just because it says balls.
Yeah.
But, and then afterwards she goes, listen, pal, I don't scare easily. So you can F right off. And she points her hand out and swoop. And the knife cuts off 4 of her little piggy fingers.
4 of her fingers.
To which she takes off scared running.
Sure.
Here's something I should have pointed out earlier that I kind of liked about this issue before I get into the story itself.
They don't have hooves.
Is the speech bubble itself.
Yeah.
The way they did it, because it's just, like, oh my God, over and over again. But I love the way that they made it work there.
Well, it flows inside the speech bubble and like all the way up
It
to
fills
the
the
things,
entire
like it's
space.
more and more and more.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my God.
And
oh
it's
my
so
God.
panicked and freaked. I love that. There was also another scene. This was weird. Like, speech bubbles and just the ballooning are so kind of important things that you don't notice until they do cool things with them.
Sure.
Oh, to show the honk of like how it just kind of distracting it was. Look, they have it go over the speech
Over
bubble.
panels
and
and
like
the
it's
bubbles.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like so I don't like it cuts off the word. Like that's
cool.
a very smart kind of decision because it's distracting even to read.
Sure.
And so it's things like that I found really cool.
Yeah,
But
that is cool.
so she runs
Just in the way that the story flows.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
So
Makes
she
it kind of cinematic.
Very much so. So Cherry is running now, holding her hand that's now missing 4 fingers, looking for help. She climbs up a fire escape somehow.